my toast.
Yeah, it's 2:00. I mean, if we could have it wrapped up by 4:30,
Perfect.
then that'll give me time to finish packing and
That'll give me time to go home, get changed, put in a suit, and make that installation.
yeah.
I really don't want to go to. But
He said it on the air.
I don't.
Scott!
Damn. Don't you people have jobs? What the hell?
Oh, and there's Tom as well.
We've got fake snow days. That's why we're Jason's taking his
Yeah, my Chuck Howard leave at noon the day before.
highly illegal. Which it's not just him. It's like the entire Air Force misreads that reg
Right.
to their own advantage.
Well, no. Here's the thing. When know how
guys?
we had a massive technician migration from technicians to AGRs in
Right.
the 108. When they did this massive brief to all the new convertees,
Right.
they briefed that in there. Like talking about their benefits and stuff. This is your leave. Oh, and if you do this, this, and this, you can leave after half a day the day before and not get charged to leave. They briefed this to these guys.
Yeah.
The fucking HR did.
Yeah, because you can. You've seen the reg, right?
Yeah,
You've seen
I
what it
read it this
actually
morning.
says.
Yeah.
It says that if you're going to take space available travel, then you can utilize this portion of the fucking leave.
So it says if you're starting leave or you're booking space A travel. So it doesn't say specifically.
what's the date on that reg?
This update I was reading was like 2013, 2014, something like that.
That's
Trust me, I've always thought it was a fucking scam.
it's a scam.
But
It's
today,
which is fine.
But today I was going to use it to my advantage.
Yeah, as you should.
Because-
Fuck it. Well, you were getting released early today anyway, so it's not even really.
But see, I didn't know that at the time,
Dude, who would have thought like the tag actually releasing before the fucking base?
Yeah,
Because the base had their fucking snow huddle, and they're basically keeping the base open but encouraging telework.
sure. Well, and the funny thing is too is the tag last week, the Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving, sends out an email at like 3:30. Oh, you guys are released for the day. It's like
3:30.
Thanks, asshole.
Fuck you, you shitbag. He's an army guy too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking army guys. Big lovin'. Hola.
The thoughts and opinions
¿Cómo está?
of Mr. Roscom do not reflect that of Senior Master Sergeant Jason Roscom. Two different characters here. But Dave's retired now, so
So fuck them.
yeah. Big 11 9-level skates. Yeah.
7-level skates. Yeah, Jason's officially, right? Because you're in a superintendent role. Does that? Well, you changed AFSCs, right?
Yeah. I'm a 7 level right now on my new AFSC.
Okay.
So because I'm that great.
And I am the retired level, the best level you can possibly have.
Yes, I agree. I can't believe we have this many people in the chat.
I know. I'm fucking stoked.
Yeah. Even Shotgun Mark made an appearance. Get the fuck out.
Fucking really, Scott? You're gonna bring up the?
Oh no, he went there already. God, don't get him worked up yet. I want to wait until it gets to his week because I really want to hear this. So, Kristen really wants to hear this too.
Oh, Ole Miss. Oh, Jesus. The fucking piss play.
What happened with Old Miss?
So Ole Miss, it was in the chat for the Egg Bowl, right, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So defense, I forget how it ended up, but there was a celebration in the end zone where the fucking the player goes in the end zone, and part of his celebration is he's like walking on all fours, lifts his leg up like he's peeing.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. Bad juju. Because it cost them the game.
Yeah, because they missed the extra point after that.
It cost them the game.
Yeah.
And that's one of those where I like the rule in college where there's no celebrating.
Yeah, I thought that was always the rule, where there was no celebrations in college.
No, it
at all.
changed. It changed. When they went more lax in the NFL, the college kind of met that halfway.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can't do this like fucking 5 dudes get together in the fucking end zone to take the picture type thing.
Yeah.
But like, Trace McSorley, what he used to do is he'd do this like home run thing and then pose, like that just after a touchdown.
Sure.
So something like individual small celebrations they would allow as long as it was appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
This obviously isn't appropriate. Fucking like you're pissing on somebody.
Yeah.
I'm sure R. Kelly enjoyed it.
You've seen the movie Basketball, right? Trey Parker and Matt Stone from the 90s. Right after South Park hit big.
I think I saw it because it was those guys from South Park.
Do you remember the opening scene of that?
No, I do.
Oh my god, it's like worth bringing up. Hold on. You wouldn't be able to hear it. Open up a new tab.
All right.
Sorry guys, we're doing this live. We haven't actually started the podcast recording.
I've got a new tab open on my desktop. What are we looking for?
No, I don't see it.
It's on my desktop.
Type in Basketball opening scene. Basket.
Hits.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Base.
BASE. KETBALL. Opening scene. You talk about the excessive celebrations. Just that immediately makes me think of that scene. Ow, fucking hell! I killed my calves in the gym 3 days ago, and they still hurt.
All right. Is this it?
Yep. Either one. KETBALL. Opening scene. You talk about the excessive celebration. Just mute. There you go.
Time in America when contests of athletic prowess were a metaphor for the nobility of man. Historic moments forged by the love of the game celebrate
They're showing a Kirk Gibson.
excellence. But as time passed,
Oh, no, that's not Kirk Gibson. That's fucking.
Reggie.
Yeah.
the ideal of sportsmanship began to take a back seat to excessive celebration.
Okay. They're dancing a jig. The entirety of the offense is dancing a jig.
So yeah, whenever you talk about excessive celebration, I always think of this opening scene.
Fucking 49er being carted off. Oh, and the refs are involved.
So that's
Core State Center, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
God, that's old. Holy shit.
Again, that was from the late 90s. It was when that movie
Preparation
came out.
H Arena. That's actually pretty funny. Oh. All right. Pearl Harbor Day is going to be sweet. Yeah. You know what? I do not even want to watch the Big Ten Championship. I would rather watch BSU Hawaii than watch the Ohio State Dick Eyes fucking play Wisconsin. Yeah. Although Wisconsin can beat Ohio State. Like, they seem to always play them tough.
Wait, who is Wisconsin the other team that beat Michigan earlier this year?
Probably.
Why am I thinking of Wisconsin?
Well, Wisconsin,
we talked about
Wisconsin just beat
year.
Minnesota to get into the Big Ten Championship. Wisconsin has more Big Ten Championship appearances than any other team in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Like, so they've been there. They're the dominant team in the West. Like, so the Big Ten's divided into East and West.
Yeah.
And, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Rutgers, Maryland are all in the East.
Sure.
And then the other schmucks are in the West. But that's just been how it's worked out, where Wisconsin's been the better team all those years. So.
And Big Lovin says yes, they are the other ones that beat Michigan earlier this year.
So.
Anyway,
the Ohio State fucking Wisconsin game. Unless Wisconsin keeps it close, maybe I'll tune into it. But I'd rather watch Boise State. I want to see the blue field. I'm gonna root for the Broncos, the proper Broncos,
right?
And as opposed to that Denver team.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right, fair enough. Anything else before we actually start the actual show?
Uh-uh.
All right, so it's your toast. I'm assuming you have something.
Big Lovin's rejuvenated after Thanksgiving. And you know what? The soothing waters of the greater Destin area, Destin, Fort Walton Beach area, will do that to you.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit jealous.
I'm sure it was nice and warm down there too, compared to all this bullshit up here. And I'm sure it's even worse for you guys right now.
Yeah. This is a nor'easter, technically, isn't it?
Yeah, I heard him refer to it as this morning.
That's why it's so fucking shitty.
Yeah. It's too damn cold.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
I should probably turn this off as much as I want to keep it on.
Turn that one off. This one's going full bore, so we'll be
Just
all right. We're not going to get colder.
Noise. I would hope not.
It's still running. There,
It takes a second to shut off. All right. 30 seconds of silence starting now.
To Debbie, and wishing her the best of luck this week from all of us.
Yes, to Debbie, a.k.a. Mom. And I will give her your best, but she watches the show pretty much either live or that day, so she'll see it. Yeah.
So currently, before we get into too much other nonsense, currently right now there is a live Q&A off of StarWars.com or off of Star Wars'
YouTube channel.
They're doing a live Q&A right now as we speak.
Oh, shit.
So,
and I'm glad you guys are tuning in to us on the YouTube as opposed to that.
Well, I mean, they most likely got the pop-up, about the same time we did. Yeah. I'm just bringing it up just for those who want to maybe dual stream it and look back later. I just kind of wanted to get a chance to see what Daisy looked like.
I'm looking at KMT's big TTs in the background right now.
Yes. Let's see. We'll make the screen bigger just for a moment.
Something's getting bigger. Anyway,
and JJ we trust. So anyway, that's going on as we do this.
And in the meantime, hello everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. Oh my god, we look terrible on that stream.
I know.
I'm Mr. Jason Roscoe. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I am happy that we're getting this done early today so that all my evening events don't interrupt our podcast schedule.
Right. And for me, I have to pack tonight and catch an early flight tomorrow, so that will be the rest of my evening. And hello to Tevin in the chat.
Yep. Who just moved into a new apartment, so
excellent.
Congrats.
Yes. So, what are we talking about today?
Tom Jensen being covered in snow? Or I'm looking at the notes because like, what are we specifically talking about? We're talking... Actually, we're going to talk about Mandalorian Episode 4.
Yep. But that's not the main topic.
But we have to talk about Mandalorian Episode 4.
Yep.
We are contractually obligated to no one to talk about The Mandalorian because of how fucking good it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to go over Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Which one of these podcast hosts has actually completed... and one of them hasn't.
Yes,
so,
and we will get to why one of them hasn't and the frustrations associated therewith.
Right.
But before then, we got a couple other things to take care of.
Yes. Podbelly.com is one of them, right? I'm assuming that's what you're teaming up for.
That is
so, podbelly.com for some place to go to get podcasts that are like ours.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep.
And well produced.
Yep.
And easy to get to if you go to podbelly.com. It has all the podcasts there listed on the screen. You can stream right from the website.
Yes.
I don't know if I mentioned that the last time.
I don't think
but
you
can.
Yeah.
You can actually play it like from the web app, as it were. Or you can find a podcast on there that you like and check it out. Download it to your iTunes or however you get your podcast done. And Give them 5-star reviews. Tell them that the All Things Star Wars podcast sent you.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yes.
And I think Jason's going to look for 5-star reviews since I just mentioned that.
You read my mind.
But yeah, and if you're also an aspiring podcaster, you have ideas, you want to get a podcast going, go to podbelly.com, and there's actually a little tutorial section on how you can start your own podcast. So podbelly.com for all your podcasting needs.
Yep. And
Trademark.
no new reviews, by the way, on iTunes.
I want Brent to acknowledge the fact that I am
you did great. Like, that was fucking flawless.
Yes.
And I should be seeing Brent later this week, and I should get a tour of Podbelly Studios.
Excellent.
So we'll see how that goes, and I'll maybe take some pictures and do like an IG Live kind of deal. But yes,
that would be swell.
Check out Podbelly. Also want to give a huge shout out to all of our patrons. If you want to support the All Things Star Wars podcast, go to patreon.com/ATSW podcast. And I want to give a huge thanks to all of our patrons: Tony Ferrari, Camille Donovan, Nick Jackson, Frederick Martin, Big Lovin, Scott Rasmussen, Tactical Swede, Don Solsky, and Shotgun Mark. Woo! You guys are the best. You are the reason why we do this.
Cue to celebration music.
Yes. And while you're doing that, also something that we talked about before the show, we just got our most recent deposit, I guess, of Patreon money, which we, again, thank you guys so much for. And we're going to use that to invest in equipment to finally be able to do call-ins. It's something we've been talking about for quite a while. Once we get this last thing that we need, which I'm going to order probably while I'm gone in California this week, we will start taking any call-ins from any of our patrons. So if you guys want to call into the show, be a guest host, we have some things in the works for stuff to talk about, different topics.
And I think obviously the call-in portion would go first to our Patreon supporters who make this all happen.
We can do it that way.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Honestly, they should have the right of first refusal.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm speaking for them. I'm speaking on their behalf.
Yes, you're
even though there is a lot of them in the chat.
Yeah, you're a man of the people, Dave.
I am a man of the people.
So, yeah, keep an ear open for that. That's stuff that's probably going to happen immediately following Rise of Skywalker, because we're only a couple of weeks away at this point.
Yeah.
It's, what is it? Today's the 2nd. Comes out on the 19th, technically. I know the official release date is the 20th, but come on. We know how this thing goes.
We're seeing it the 19th.
Yeah.
And so is a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So 15 days away. Today's the 2nd. 14 days away. Math is hard.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks?
So, man, just over 2 weeks, and it's here.
Get the fuck out.
I know. And by the time I get back from California, it'll be a week. So, anyway, we're probably going to do... Realistically, we're probably going to do 2 full episodes focused on Rise of Skywalker, I would imagine. I would think that we're going to get our initial thoughts out on one and then do a more in-depth analysis after that. Just thinking off the top of my head. But then as soon as that's over, we'll go into the listener call-in episodes and start dealing with different topics on that. Maybe even getting your opinions on the Rise of Skywalker.
You bitches and your inability to fucking... eliminate the snaps. You could have bought our way out of it, but no. Or I should have bought our way out of it, and I did not. So bad on me. It's my fault.
That's fine. Some people like it. Moving on, though. We had a whole bunch of new TV spots, international trailers, and shit like that for Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
So we were kind of talking about this before the show. For me personally, I'm kind of done seeking this stuff out. Mm-hmm. I did catch a glimpse of one thing during football yesterday.
Right.
And we can talk about that. But for the most part, I'm done seeking out any promotional material for Rise of Skywalker. I don't need to see anything else. I don't want to see anything else. I want every new scene that I see at this point to be when I'm sitting in that fucking theater for the first time. Don't need to see anything else. They've got my money. I don't need my appetite whetted any more than it already is. Just fucking give me the movie already. Don't need to see anything new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I am at this point.
I'm with you. First of all, I don't have time to seek these things out. Mm-hmm. A lot of the kind of the force feedback I get for some things is just because friend of the show, the imaginary Big Swede,
he is imaginary,
otherwise known as Nick. Mm-hmm. He's in my office and he's looking at the comments of some fucking video and commenting on all the fucking idiots, which tune into Tactical Swede or Big Swede's
Excellent
Adventures. I believe that he's getting ready to do a fairly substantial rant on these otherwise known as Star Wars fans, alleged Star Wars fans, because of shit like that, because of the stupidity. That
Which there's a lot of.
There is a lot of it, and I mean, fuck, to be honest, I think we're very, very good about maintaining an even strain as far as like where our highs and lows are for things. And we tell it like it is for us. We're not pandering to some fucking audience. We're not going for clickbait, which probably would be really easy to do, but we're not doing that because why?
Yeah, we could totally go with the outrage factor and get a ton more listeners, but it's, why?
Yeah, it's not genuinely how I feel, and I'm on this podcast. I'm not here to fucking act like something else.
Yeah, because we came into this with love.
Yeah, and I like if we were going to change something, probably the thing we should change to make us more audience friendly would be the fucking fact that we say fuck all the fucking time.
Yeah, and talk about football just as much as we talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I'm with you. I am not seeking anything. I get a feedback from some articles that Big Sweet is looking at, but for the most part, if I'm watching it on football and it comes on, I'll enjoy it and I'll catch something different, like you said. There was a couple of scenes in one of the more recent spots that I was like, oh, that's probably worth talking about.
So speaking of that, is one of them Leia with the lightsaber?
Leia with the lightsaber is part of it.
That's the thing that I saw.
The flaming wreckage of what I believe to be Kylo Ren's TIE fighter.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was a really quick thing. I think it's in the same spot, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's there where Rey is standing in front of this flaming wreckage. I think some people, when they saw it initially, believe that to be the Falcon as the flaming wreckage, which
there's no way they would spoil something like that.
I agree with you. And for me, like, because I am hyper in tune with the TIE fighter, it is my fucking thing. Like, that right there, as you look at, like, as soon as I saw that's the cockpit window of a fucking TIE fighter.
Oh, okay.
And even if it only took a microsecond for it to flash on, then I was like, yeah, I know what that is. So
yeah, that makes sense.
It was that, and there's been a couple other spots they're giving a little bit of fucking little extra scenes here and there, and I'm fine with that if I'm watching it organically.
Right.
I'm sitting there, I'm watching Penn State, or I'm watching football, and I'm not even going to mention that other fucking franchise that I follow. I don't even want to.
But you're going to talk about it this week, right?
I am going to have to.
Yes. All right. So yeah, but that's really the only news that's kind of out right now.
Fuckers.
And yeah, like I said, I'm not seeking out any promotional material at this point. I just wanted to fucking get here already. And thankfully, I have some distractions coming up in my life.
You do. There's going to be some time traveling for you that's going to happen. It's going to make this shit come up faster.
Yeah, because that's the thing. And by the time I get back, it's going to be like, holy fuck, this is next week.
I know.
Oh, God.
So I've got a couple days off progged for it. Hopefully I put them on the board at work. But yeah, it's going to be... it's about that time.
Yep. So...
Break forth the rhythm and the rhyme. Mine, get yours.
I'd rather you sing Blue's Clues at this point. So let's go right into our weeks then.
Get the hell out.
Since we already kind of talked about it, I am going home to California tomorrow morning, first thing, like ridiculously early. Hopefully the roads are clear by then. And I have like 3 Audible credits. So anybody out there, you in the chat, you in the chat, or you guy sitting across from me, if you have any audiobook suggestions for me to listen to on my trip, throw them my way, either now or later, preferably before tomorrow morning.
We will have a discussion about that when we're finished.
Yes. So, but yeah, I've got a whole bunch of audiobook credits, and I need something for my trip, if nothing else, to pass the time on those long-ass flights.
Yeah.
But... we talked about some football already. Michigan lost. Sad face. You called it. No Harbaugh firing yet, so we'll see how that goes. I am seeing a lot of articles like, why can't Harbaugh beat Ohio State? But nothing about him getting fired or anything like that. So he may live another season.
There is a lot of... I'll talk about it for a second, but there's a lot of discussion. James Franklin, the coach for Penn State, is in a lot of discussion to take the Florida State job, which he has. There's articles out there to say he has mutual interests, and there's other articles say that, like, he loves Penn State and he wouldn't leave. whatever.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in a second for my week.
49ers lost. Even bigger sad face. It was a close game. And it was in the
Nothing like another Harbaugh to disappoint you, huh?
Yeah. And, the weather was real shitty. I think the 49ers played a solid game. I'm not heartbroken about this. I mean, it sucked. But at the same time, Tom Brady had a great quote today or last night when the press was badgering him about them losing to the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, look, we're still 10-2. We're not fucking 2-10,
right?
Like some of these other schmucks out here, or we're not playing like fucking the worst team in the NFL, like the Raiders, right now. So cut us some slack.
Or the Dolphins.
Yeah. So, I mean, Niners are still 10-2. They have some work ahead of them if they even want to win the division at this point because of fucking Seattle. God, I fucking hate Seattle so much, almost as much as I hate the Raiders. But. Yeah, there's that, and the Patriots lost too. So me and Kristen were both kind of, sad football.
Listen, it's fucking football.
Yeah.
It's football. It's any given Saturday, any given Sunday. It's still football.
Yep.
You're battling against somebody else who also wants to win.
Oh yeah, and
even the Dolphins.
Fantasy wise, so first of all. The Booth and the Bat guys didn't record last
week.
Because Brady was on vacation. So Kristen and I did sort of an impromptu fantasy football recap. Yes. I talked her into coming on.
It was great. She did great.
Yeah. And, because she's always like worried about, sounded dumb or whatever. I'm like, you'll be fine. And
how can you sound more dumb than I sound?
Right. And no, we had a good time. She had some really funny things to say. Mm-hmm. Apparently the end was great. Everybody made comments about how we ended the show.
Yeah. Well, how we end the show as opposed to how you attempted to end the show.
Right, which did
making
not
an assumption that your wife actually watches the entirety of the program,
which clearly
or listens.
Was a mistake on my part. But yeah, it was fun. And speaking of the fantasy, even though I'm probably going to win my game this week, I'm still going to miss the playoffs because of these
playoffs.
These stupid ass tiebreakers. But
and my the bad football week for me all around.
Yeah, because you let me down by losing to Scott, which was my other in for making the playoffs,
and that was not my intent. I wanted to have solid footing going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
but I'm not as confident as I was before going into this week.
Mm-hmm. And
And
Kristen and Dawn are in a fucking nail biter of a finale in their game. Mm. If she wins, she's in the playoffs. But if she loses, then Scott's in. So we'll see how that
Scott's paying a lot of attention to this.
I would imagine. But and speaking of which, can we just address something real quick? We started recording this at 2 p.m. Eastern time on a Monday afternoon.
Right. Random Monday afternoon.
Not expecting anybody to be in the chat.
Yep.
Practically our entire fucking faithful listener base is in the goddamn chat right now. And I'm like, don't you people have fucking jobs? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing everybody. Even people we don't normally see in the fucking chat are here.
Yep. And listen, it's fucking...
we love you guys.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm ecstatic because it gives me something to do while I'm over here. Looking at this, Jason can't even see the chat with the way the fucking laptop is. I can see it. Do you need a booster so you can get the right angle? Or you could just close that a little bit.
I can see it.
Fucking jackass.
Where did that come from?
But I forget where I was going with that.
Oh, all of these losers in the chat.
Yeah, if you're going to be following us in the chat, and we love that you're doing that, fucking hit the like button. God damn it. Do it. Do it. Because.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I do love the fact that all these guys are in here at 2 p.m. on a fucking Monday, where that's 2 p.m. Eastern, so it's even earlier in the Midwest or on the West Coast. And we have just that dedicated of a fan base. That just goes to show how fucking awesome we are.
Yeah.
So, one last thing that I had, a listener of ours, Caleb, I don't know if he really wants me to say his last name on here, so I'll just keep it to Caleb. He responded to our request.
He's in the chat right now, isn't he? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, shit, I totally missed that.
Scrolling up. Yep, there he is. That guy, right?
I think it's a different Caleb, actually.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, he sent me a list of...
It's like the likes went up.
Essential I love it.
Nothing like
he
nothing
guilted
like
them.
nothing like shaming. See, public shaming fucking works. It works. I wish I could get the commander I work for to fucking buy off on that.
Anyway, Caleb sent me a list of important Clone Wars storylines, I guess, to watch because after this Rise of Skywalker shit dies down and The Mandalorian, we've got Clone Wars Season 7 coming in February.
Yep.
So it would be a good idea on our parts to get... We don't have to watch every goddamn episode of the first 6 seasons. Just the imperative
I've already
series.
seen too many.
Yeah.
I've seen too many clunkers, to be honest.
If nothing else, if it's like an essential 5 storylines or something to watch, that we can do before the next one comes out. Then we can review them weekly as they debut and be kind of relevant with that stuff. So thank you, Caleb, for sending us that stuff, and we will start chipping away at that soon after Rise of Skywalker. And that, I think, is everything in my week for the most part. What you got?
For me,
Do we want
I couldn't even tell you. I got before the weekend. It was fucking Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. We completely missed that last week. Even thinking about Thanksgiving.
Well, we did something completely different for Thanksgiving this year. We went to the hibachi grill buffet because Kristen's family was all out of town. Her one sister abandoned us. So it was just really us, and we're just like, nah, fuck it, let's just go out. And you know what? It was a good time.
Yeah.
We loved it.
That's what my family does on Christmas time. Instead of having a big traditional thing, we'll end up at one of the buffets.
Yeah.
And all the family shows up. Same cast of characters. Just happen to be doing it at a buffet. No cleanup, no fuss, no muss. And it's a good time.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving just passed. We have an older pup. Our oldest, the Doodle, she's 13, and she's slowing down.
Yeah.
And this past week she's been a little sick and have some issues overnight, and so went to the vet on Saturday and gave her some meds. So she's in good spirits. She's not in pain or anything, but it's kind of one of those things we've been dealing with or trying to hopefully get through the holidays. But we'll see. Hey, 13 years for a Doodle is a long time.
Yeah.
And it's it's gonna be tough on the family, I think. So we're just trying to manage that. And while that was going on, I went to my 25th high school reunion.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I was part of the organizing committee for that. Real informal.
Because you don't have enough to fucking do.
Obviously not. And I only say yes and never say no. Anyway, I went to that. We had it at the PJs in Cherry Hill, and it was actually for the cost and where the venue was and how the options were. It was perfect, and it was real informal, and had a great turnout. It was a good time. But I really wasn't there. I just was thinking about what was going on with the dog and not feeling great myself. Came home from that, and the Penn State game came on, and Penn State tried to fucking lose to Rutgers. That game, it should have, even with the backup quarterback, it should have been a blowout because our starter did not play that game. He got injured in the Ohio State game. And so he goes out, the backup goes out there, and they just fucking, with all the James Franklin talk of him going to Florida State, and they're really not making a big deal out of around here. I mean, even at State College, it's being brought up because they're talking about it so much down in Florida. It's not even really a conversation up here, which leads me to believe that it's not really a thing.
It's more like wishful thinking on their part, maybe?
I think it's wishful thinking on Florida's part.
Right, that's what I mean.
Because they're hoping to get, an SEC coach, because Franklin he coached at Vanderbilt, which is an SEC team, and I think they want to bring him back into and recruit down in the southern area. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm not a huge James Franklin guy. I mean, to me, he's a cheerleader. He's like a Jason Garrett type, where he's there on the side. He's not really calling any plays. It's any coaching decision they fucking immediately go right to the fucking head coach for. But he's got other coaches that are helping make the decision.
Sure.
He's wearing a headset to hear what's going on. Probably has some input, calls times outs or shit like that. But Penn State getting getting in a situation with Rutgers where they potentially could have lost that game, to me, is like, you're either Rutgers decided they were going to step the fuck up because it's their last game of the season, and they were in Beaver Stadium and they want to fucking make a statement, or Penn State just didn't prepare. This is the last game for them until the fucking bowl.
Yeah.
And they went out there, and if Sean Clifford is that much of the offense that they can't put the backup in or get the next guy up, then we have a problem. So, and plus we got a couple of recruits that went into the transfer portal, which, you know, tells you, well, you know, what's going on in the program that they want to go in the transfer portal to get more playing time. I don't know. Anyway, so I was a little upset by that, but whatever. Fucking the next day is the fucking Eagles game, right? And so let's talk about this from a fantasy perspective real quick.
Okay.
So I have Carson Wentz on my fantasy team for the Mando Dick Riders, right? And I had Jared Goff at one point, and I had that fucking shitbag from the Jets, Sam Darnold. And I'm like, you know what? It's the Jets versus fucking Cincinnati. Like, Darnold just had a really good game. I see him having another good game on top of that. I'm getting rid of Jared Goff because fuck him. He's already screwed me over several weeks. I should be fucking up there in one of those positions with the Death Stars.
Yeah.
And the fucking Canadian. But
Fucking
instead, I fucking, it's just an adjective, Jason. Just go with it. Instead, now I'm fighting for my fucking, I'm not really fighting for my life, but I wanted to go into the fucking game strong. And I'm looking at Wentz. I'm like, Wentz could either have a really good game against Miami, like a statement game, or he could have, okay, we're just going to run the ball and we're just going to clock manage and do whatever.
Yeah.
So I kept Wentz on the bench.
Because, you know, with the caveat, Miami's got a shitty run defense. So
yeah, they should have.
They should play into part of your rant here.
It should have. And the problem, I started Darno. He gets fucking 6.5 points. Wentz got 28 points on my fucking bench. You swap those two players, I beat Pimpins Willix.
Yeah.
Easily. But whatever. It's not like it's costing me a lot, but it's just annoying because I played a particular strategy and it failed. So they're not all winners, folks. But motherfucker. So how can I put this? It's the fucking Miami Dolphins.
Right.
It's the fucking Miami Dolphins. The 30th worst offense in the fucking league. And our defense went in there, my defense went in there, and made fucking Ryan Harvard beard dickbag Fitzpatrick, who seems to fucking play us well every goddamn time. This motherfucker and his beard looks like damn fucking Marino. They got their old fucking helmets on. They got the old school fucking Dolphin helmets on, and they're all the uniform scheme. And Fitzpatrick goes out there and lights us the fuck up. They did everything against us. There wasn't much of a running game, right?
Yeah.
Not much of a running game. But every time Fitzpatrick went back, they had like 5 consecutive scoring drives. Like, what the absolute fuck are you doing? Like, why is this shitbag Jim Schwartz still have a fucking job? Let's look at the body of work.
Terrible head coach.
For fucking Schwartz.
Yeah.
Thanks Detroit for fucking getting this. Oh, he's a defensive mind. Great. A defensive mind of a rubber band. Because it's constantly this bend but don't break bullshit. Like, you have to have a basic fucking defense that's going to stop people from doing things that you're being exploited by. Like, you can't. Wentz had a fucking 300-yard, 3-touchdown game. The fault of this fucking game was not on Carson Wentz. Wasn't really on the offense. It's on the defense. You fucking go out there. Now, granted, the offense didn't show up in the fucking second half.
Right, and they didn't run, though, either.
No, and it comes down to the fucking play calling. Jordan Howard was still out. I don't think they trust Sanders to fucking carry the ball. I don't know what they're thinking. There's a lot of fucking poor management going on of the players. There's the playbook itself. Like, the offense is very, very schizophrenic. And I think it comes down to they wanted to get Carson Wentz a game where he was comfortable, he was executing passes and things like that, which forced them into a situation where suddenly they're calling plays not necessarily to win the game. Because I can tell you right now, everyone pays lip service to the fact that, like, oh, no, we know Miami's a good football team. They're just, like, whatever, right? They'll say shit like that, and you want to believe it.
Yeah, try to answer away the loss.
But regardless, no, even before that, they're going to say things like, hey, no, we're treating this. We know that Miami's going to come out to play. We know they're not throwing games, blah, 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 right? And yes, Miami is it is a football team. They're professional football players. This isn't, like, think the movie Major League, right? Where the fucking broad wants them to tank every one of the fucking games. And no, they're not. They're not going to tank all the games because they're baseball players and they want to win. Nobody wants to fucking lose.
Yeah.
You don't get to that fucking level and want to lose.
Right.
So of course Miami's going to go out there to try and win the fucking football game. So however you game planned, they said the Eagles special teams, like, they said, oh, we practiced for trick plays all week. Why would you admit to that?
Yeah.
Why would you admit to that? Just go like, we didn't see that coming. That's what I would want you to say. Think until you make it, motherfuckers.
Are we talking about the kicker throwing the touchdown pass to the punter?
No, the punter throwing it to the kicker.
Okay, I got him reversed.
Like, I don't know. Like, really? Every fucking week we've succumbed to a trick play. And if you're Doug Peterson, Big Swede made a great point earlier today. Call the fucking timeout.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing some goofy shit. I don't know what's going on. Timeout.
Yeah.
Call a timeout. Guess what? You probably they're not going to try and do that again.
No.
Because if you put the same defense on there, you're dumb, which Jim Schwartz is, so it probably could have worked. Probably could have been like, hey, guess what we're doing, guys? We're going to go ahead and do this, and this guy's going to catch it. You ready? Go. And it probably would have fucking worked. The defense looks so fucking bad, and honestly, it comes down to the coach. It comes down to either how they're looking at film, how they're deciding they're going to call the game. There is no defense. Their cover zero fucking defense. The rush with 4, what they're doing with the linebackers, like they're outside blitzing. None of that shit is working. None of it. No. They're completely reliant on Fletcher Cox and Jernigan and these guys to get in there. And then you got guys like Jernigan who are fucking getting penalties that cost us first downs almost every single time. That roughing the passer, you don't leave your feet. Why are you leaving the feet going towards the top of a fucking quarterback? Even if you jumped over them, it doesn't matter. Like, this is where we are in the fucking league. The coaches need to. This is the shit that you fucking emphasize. That loss to one of the worst teams in football is entirely on that fucking defense. Because offenses, like, you go out there, like Fitzpatrick goes out there and says, you know what? This is what I see in film on these guys. This is what I'm going to exploit. Okay? And he's going to go out there and he's going to do it. Fitzpatrick has always had a 1 or 2 games where he just looks like that. Yeah. Okay? But if you're the defense, you're like, no, we're going to stop you because we're a better football team.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't. They played right down to the fucking Dolphins level to the point where they could not keep up. They couldn't cover fucking their number 1 guy. Like, and they're dropping into man coverage. Okay, then double up that motherfucker. Double up Gesicki coming off, who's a Penn Stater, who was a great tight end in college. He's on a shit team right now, but he showed you fucking on Sunday, this is why he was a draft pick, right? These motherfuckers just... It should have never came down to like a trick play or anything else. And the offense didn't cost them this game. Whereas you can say like, hey, the defense played well against the fucking Patriots and the defense played well against Seattle. However, the offense wasn't executing.
Yeah.
Not this game. This game, the defense decided to lay a giant fucking turd right on the middle of the field in Miami. Weather's not a factor. There's no fucking wind. It's like you go out there, you fucking play football. And they decided not to. So Jim Schwartz has got to fucking go. He's got to go.
Yeah, he's awful.
Send him fucking back to Detroit. Let him fucking dick around up there and fuck up their team. Hey, go coach with fucking Harbaugh in Michigan. Why not?
Yeah, I don't think any NFL team is going to want to hire him. Like, he sucked before he ever came to the Eagles.
And oh, by the way, yes, he coached that defense during the Super Bowl for the Eagles. But if you look at that defense throughout those games, aside from some stud performances, they gave up a lot of fucking points. Mm-hmm. That was their MO. They would fucking let you go, get all the way down the field, and somehow keep you to a fucking field goal.
Yeah.
Because now the field's smaller, right? So now it's harder. There's less plays you can execute.
Right.
But up until that point, every fucking thing that everybody does against this defense works.
Right. Well, and that was the season that made old Foles look like a fucking, made him look like Joe Montana because he was always playing from behind and he kept having to come back from behind and everything else.
And listen, all you motherfucking Eagles fans out there that make a comment like, "Oh, where's Foles?" Wow, where's Foles? This is not on fucking Carson Wentz.
No.
Knock it the fuck off. You're fucking stupid. You're stupid. You're stupid. Right? Do you really want Nick Foles? What happened with Nick Foles just recently in this Jaguars game? I think didn't they have an offer in that fucking game? We know he's not a starting quarterback. Get your head out of your ass. Shut the fuck up. Because you are the Eagles fans that are just like the Star Wars fans that want to have, we're going to shit on the Mandalorian for some fucking reason.
Who's shitting on the Mandalorian?
There are people out there that are shitting on the Mandalorian because, it's not this and this part of the canon and blah, blah, blah. Oh, now we're going to talk about the Mandalorian here in a minute. But yeah, there's people that are shitting on it. Shut up. Shut up. If you're shitting on things just to shit on them, just stop it. Stop it! And if you're a fucking Eagles fan and you're complaining about Carson Wentz on a game where the defense obviously cost you the fucking game, stop it. Stop it. There needs to be a coaching change.
Yeah, which is weird. I mean, considering you guys are only a season and a half removed from that Super Bowl win.
And we could be tied for the division lead right now.
Right.
That game should have been our fucking Super Bowl. It should have been the week building up to that. It is a normal week. It's not a short week. There's no fucking excuses.
Yeah.
None.
Because Dallas apparently has no desire to lead in that division
there's
either.
A great meme that I saw today that Big Sweet showed me today. It's of it's SpongeBob and Patrick, right? In the wrestling episodes, one of the early SpongeBobs. And they're in the ring, and Patrick is wrestling himself, and SpongeBob is wrestling himself. They're not wrestling each other.
Right.
That's the Eagles and Cowboys right now for the fucking division.
Yeah.
That playoff spot.
Yeah.
And I have no confidence at all, along with most of the Eagles fans right now, regardless of how stupid they are. I don't have any confidence that they're going to beat the Giants twice. And the Redskins at home. Mm-hmm. The Redskins are trying to do something.
Yeah.
To finish their season out. And then you still got to beat the fucking Cowboys.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to win every fucking game from this point forward. And if they continue to put the same product on the field, if they put the same playbook on the fucking field because, this time it'll work, then somebody's got to get fucking fired. The Eagles don't make the playoffs this season. Somebody's got to go. Somebody on that coaching staff has got to go. And to me, it's got to be Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
Period. Dot. Now let's talk about fucking Star Wars.
Yes.
Fuck the fucking Eagles right now.
And we're actually going to take a very quick break before we talk about Star Wars.
And fuck the fucking Flyers too, because great, people are talking about the Flyers are winning. I don't give a fuck. I'm still boycotting the Flyers because they're a pandering franchise.
Yeah.
Let's pander to those people who said, the Kate Smith shit. Let's pander to that. I know my boycott doesn't mean anything to the Flyers organization, but fuck you for how you handled the Kate Smith thing. And I don't give a shit how. Go ahead, win the cup. I don't give a fuck. I do not give a fuck. I will not watch a single game.
I admire your dedication. Sticking to your guns.
Fuckity.
In the meantime, before we get to our main topic, we will be right back after this word from our sponsors.
That'll be the new Snap.
I like it.
They wanted to see the knife. Here's the fucking knife. My fucking God. Oh my God, that fucking game pissed me off so fucking bad. The goddamn Dolphins. The goddamned Dolphins. And of course, Dolphins fans show up from fucking nowhere. Didn't even get a chance to talk about how How is Harbaugh still a fucking coach right now? How are they going to stand by him? Solskjaer said something about giving him a 5-year fucking extension. Like, I don't know if he was serious or if that was just like, what are you basing that on? Oh, we're going to a secondary bowl game. Hooray! I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. Where? Oh yeah, the knife. The chat's catching up. Oh my god, so fucking aggravating. And you know what the worst part is? Oh fuck, it's cold out there. God damn. More to be continued.
Oh, Jesus.
Hopefully it'll be warmer in California.
Yeah. Please. In fact, let's check that out. Check the forecast in Bakersfield. Oh, by the way, guys, the last review we got on iTunes was in August. I'm very disappointed in all of you. Except for Caleb, who was the last person to give us a review on iTunes. Oh, 30 degrees right now here in Jersey. But in Bakersfield, California, 68 right now. Shit. And then for the next 10 days, low 60s, which is still not bad. Oh, man. All right, what do we got in the chat here? Apparently, Big Lovin' just dropped some money to make the snaps go away. Do we have any new notifications here?
It's a long road to kill the giant. Really, Solskjaer? That's the fucking game plan. Is that straight from Harbaugh himself? It's a long road to kill the giant. Fuck you. That team is as beatable. If you continue to fucking put a team on a pedestal, then you're going to continue to fucking lose to them. For Michigan, for those fucking idiots right there, that entire season is based on that Ohio State game. The entirety of the season. For both sides. Yeah. They fucking hate each other, right? The fact that they had game day in fucking at the shoe for the Ohio State Penn State game, as opposed to fucking being at the big house for that fucking game, should be a smack in the face for Michigan. Now, granted, you can't say, oh, well, they're doing too. No, they could have very easily gone to and done the fucking Ohio State game. They could have. Instead, they did another Big Ten, which in the kumbaya of everything, aside from our Mountain West brothers out there for their conference, how about the Big Ten fucking just dominating game day and dominating the relevancy of the fucking college football? You know, Alabama. Oh my God, Alabama lost. It was fucking great. Great meme out there with Alabama losing to all the Tigers like this season. And then it's saying, like, you wonder if Nick Saban like has a fucking heart attack when he sees Tony the Tiger on a box of Frosted Flakes. You know? We outscored PSU against OSU. Okay. Cool.
Actually, oh wait. I'll have one more soda towards the end of the show. All right. We ready to get back to it?
Sure.
All right. Give me 30 seconds of silence starting after the
train
train goes away. All right. That's sure taking its time. All right, starting now. And we're back. So, our main topic is in kind of two parts this week. We've got another new episode of The Mandalorian, and that's the one we're going to touch on first, and then we'll follow it with Jedi Fallen Order. So, Mandalorian Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Yeah. Another great episode. So something I want to ask you.
Okay.
Somebody at work actually brought this up. They said, like, all my coworkers who watch The Mandalorian love it, but they said that they feel like it's becoming too much about Baby Yoda than anything. And I'm like, well, that seems to kind of be the driving plot line of the whole season is Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Where I guess some people are starting to get tired of him being the forefront of the story, which, I mean, not me. Like,
We're 4 episodes into this.
Right.
The entire... What are they expecting? Are they expecting in 30 minutes to have completely new plot lines every fucking week?
Maybe. I don't know. But I know at least a couple of people have asked, like...
They should call into the fucking Philadelphia sports call-in shows, because that's the same type of people.
Right. But, yeah, I mean, I personally,
retards.
I don't hate the presence of Baby Yoda and the fact that he's been the driving factor of these first 4 episodes so far, and probably the whole season, let's be honest.
Why on earth... Why would you... Okay. So, before we get into any spoilers for fucking the episode 4 or whatever, I mean, why would you, if you're a fan of this franchise, doubt at this point what they're doing? Just from a marketing standpoint. Let's think about it. So you have Disney Plus, brand new thing, Mandalorian, huge infill of Disney Plus subscriptions.
It's
Huge. Because of fucking The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Okay? Mandalorian comes on, and fucking episode 1, boom! Fucking here's just the cutest fucking thing ever to hit the television screen ever.
Yep.
Okay? Let's just have a half a second of that, and all of a sudden... explosion.
Yeah, it's
internet
taken
memes.
Yeah, it's taking over the fucking internet.
Everyone's talking about The Mandalorian right now.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Why is that a bad thing?
It's not.
Why, if hey, it's fucking Christmas time. Is there a more profitable thing right now than the fucking, the Child, as they're calling it, with the Funko Pop that's going to come out? It's called The Child. Oh, dude, it's fucking, I'm going to surround myself with them.
Does it come in the pod?
No, it's not in a pod. There's a Instagram follow that one of the guys from work just turned me on to today that showed but it's fucking awesome. It's going to come in the regular pop size and also in a 10-inch.
Yeah.
Which is almost like life size if you think about it.
Yeah, for Baby Yoda.
So someone's at my front door. Stand by. I'm curious. Hang on, this is going to be great. Kate.
What's up, Dad?
What's going on?
It's certified mail.
Okay.
It's weird that you could do that. I don't like it.
I'm in the middle of a podcast too. All right. Bye.
This is the latest edition of Dave Talks to His Family.
Well, I have the Ring doorbell, so I very rarely get any indications that somebody's at the door.
Yeah.
And it said somebody's at the front door.
Does it got the camera there too?
Yeah, it's one of those Ring things, so I could see like the whole interaction, and I could speak through it.
Right.
So
as we just saw.
Yes. Anyway, so why, as a franchise, would you not take advantage of the Baby Yoda? And it's a Force-sensitive being that is directly tied to the fucking canon. Yeah. So why on earth would you not make this a part of the fucking storyline? Like, and they're sticking to. It's not like they're fucking branching off and changing how they tell the story. It's still a Western. It's still it's maintaining continuity. Who has a problem with this? What were you expecting?
I'm not the one saying this. I'm just saying I've heard a couple of people say that, you know, or asking the question, not even saying that it's too much, just asking, do you think this is too much? That's all. That's all. And again, I'm right there with you. Like, I love Baby Yoda. The fucking episode 4, there was a new meme created when he's sitting there sipping the fucking soup.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a meme that's fucking everywhere now.
It's everywhere. It's the fucking best. Yeah. I personally, I don't even know how that you close out this particular storyline with Baby Yoda. I think when we talk about the episode 4, when it came out, there was some probably there was a little bit of a yo-yo expectation of what was going to happen with it. You know, and there's some other stuff that kind of piques your interest. Again, it's still on a Western theme.
Yes.
You know, the people
in this
that
episode more than any other.
yeah, for sure. It's the fucking the guy who's coming in to help. It was the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
It was
I was thinking about
it was
that,
the
actually.
fucking Three Amigos. It was like, oh, okay. And the Three Amigos, what does that do? It takes advantage of the fucking Western.
Yes. I was thinking during that last fight scene.
Yep.
Like, in my head, as I'm watching this, I'm also thinking of, like, them all sewing the fucking Three
Yep.
Amigos costumes
Yeah,
at the end of the
you
fucking
gotta have a
movie.
montage.
Yeah.
Then it, like the Mexican music playing in the background. Yeah, they're staying true to what it is. They have a marketing fucking just nuclear explosion getting ready to go off with the Baby Yoda shit.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, the fucking you got fat body Mando. The chain gun Mandalorian that's also fucking coming out for the Black Series, which is being eaten up.
Yep.
So it is a cash cow right now.
Yeah.
And you have a cash cow being milked right in front of the fucking Rise of Skywalker. Which I think that when Rise of Skywalker hits and that fucking initial, there's so many people that are still like, real kind of like, God, I don't want it to suck. Once that fucking when everybody gets over that and people start rewatching that fucking movie, dude, it is just going to be like,
Yeah.
just going to be making it rain. You're going to be making it rain.
Yeah. And kind of getting into more of the details. By the way, spoiler alert, if you don't want any spoilers for The Mandalorian, or for that matter, Jedi Fallen Order, this might be the time to tune out. So,
Jason, especially since he hadn't finished Fallen Order.
I watched the full YouTube
Oh, did
spoiler
you?
for all the cinematics,
Okay.
so I know what happens.
Fair enough.
But, yeah, Mando's looking for a place to hide out, right?
Right.
He left the guild. Now everybody's got their little fucking tracking fobs, and they're all looking for him.
Right.
So he's like, all right, I got to find some place isolated, out of the way, get the fuck out of Dodge for a while, lay
Right.
low. Don't know how he stumbles on this fucking planet. Like, I think he's just kind of traveling through the area, and he's like, nah, this looks good. Low civilization. I'm in. And, of course, there's a village there that's fucking being attacked by fucking local savages.
Right. So, but you have, like, with the attack, you have the introduction of the Walker.
Yeah.
Like, so you heard the boom, boom. And I was
and
thinking.
you even saw the bolts.
Well, that was the thing. So even watching it, you, on the initial, like, this ground shake, as it were, you had a, like, oh, maybe it's a Rancor. You know, it could have been something like that until you heard the very distinct firing of the ATST's fucking weapon. And you're like, holy fuck. Right? So there's this whole other fucking dynamic that is starting to roll into.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did you notice that, like, the krill people, like these krill farmers, like that bright blue, like, they went to the lengths of coloring, like, if this was a farm, right, and these farmers, they lived off the krill and did all these things, right, and they had their clothing. Did you notice their clothing was dyed that color also? Because
I totally missed that.
Yeah, so if you're looking like that, this is what this village does, and this is like an isolated village, they're going to dye their clothing with what they have around. And since the krill has that color, it was all a part of their clothing and stuff.
Wow, that was a detail I totally missed.
And it's just one of those things like, wow, how awesome is that they went to that level?
Yeah.
They didn't have to. They didn't have to, but they did. And it just shows you, like, hey, we need to indicate how isolated this village is. So this is just one of those markers. I think about, did you ever make it to Iquitos in Peru? It was that
I've been to Peru. I don't
that
know.
it's that at the village. It's off the Amazon. You can only fly into or
No,
take a
definitely
boat.
not.
Yeah, so that's one of those places where everything is off. Everything's based on what's going on the Amazon River. Very few powered vehicles. Lots of like motorbikes and shit like that. But really cool, just little village. Again, when you're flying into it, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. These people could very easily be, not primates, but just like not quite to where our civilization is. Now, apparently, it's close enough to oil and natural gas that there's some feedback into that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what it reminded me of. Like, And I only speak to it just because of the level of detail. The level of detail that they're getting.
Right, and even like when he first lands on the planet, he goes into that bar cantina area that's like a fucking hut.
Right.
Even that is kind of isolated, but this village that he went to later on is even more isolated.
Way
than
more
that.
isolated, yeah.
So yeah, it's really middle of nowhere. But he bumps into what's her name, Gina Carano.
I don't know her that well.
Right, I guess she's an MMA fighter, but she's also
she was in American Gladiators apparently.
Yeah, but she's also done some acting recently. Cara Dune, I think is the character's name.
Yep.
Yeah, so he comes across her, and they get into a fucking awesome fist fight outside, which it was pretty good. And then there was the one scene where they're both down on the fucking ground, and I think they look up, and Baby Yoda's just standing right there.
Yeah, that's where the scenes comes out. It's like Baby Yoda's just standing there. It's like, so he tosses the fucking coin, like he's in this little cantina area.
Yeah.
Right, and they sit down at a table, and it's like, okay, we're gonna get something to eat, and he like sees Cara Dune and asks the waitress about what she, what's this broad doing here, and she's like, I don't really know. So he throws a bunch of money at her. She's like, oh shit, money. Yeah. I will tell you everything I know, which is still nothing, but whatever.
Right.
And then Cara Dune disappears, and the Mandalorian is like, fuck, I got to find out where she's going.
Yeah.
And tosses the waitress another coin. It's like, hey, watch the kid.
Right.
Right. So meanwhile, he goes out, gets in this huge fish fight. You get a great shot of what the Mandalorian sees through the helmet with that infrared footsteps deal.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like using that, and fucking she gets the jump on him, which a little mutual thing there, I guess. But yeah, they had a fist fight. They have guns to each other's heads, fucking Matrix style. Yep. And Baby Yoda's just over there. He's sipping his fucking. Sipping his tea.
It's fucking great.
Mark Somerville in the chat says that Cara Dune was Crush on American Gladiators. She's awesome. And apparently there's people that don't like her either.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Like the character?
Or her playing that character, or it's.
I guess the fact that I'm not familiar with the actress, that it's irrelevant to me. Like she's brand new to me. So
maybe it's the feminazis that are out there that are upset because of like she's portraying like something. Who fucking knows? Why can't people just enjoy things?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of women and all that, this is the episode. I didn't realize it until it was over that Bryce Dallas Howard directed.
Yeah.
So this was her episode because we knew she was directing one episode this season, so that was hers. So. And then we have the Three Amigos moment, right? Where they come, hey, take all of our pesos, come to Santa Poco, and,
it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. He's not even paying attention to it. It's like, it's not enough. I don't want to fucking do it.
Until they mentioned how isolated they were, and then his ears perk up. He's like, oh, okay. Goes out there, immediately bumps into this fucking single mom who wants to fuck him. Like, the second he gets to the village.
Shiny armor, man.
Without question, like, she wants... some Mando dick riding.
Yep.
We'll just say that.
Yes. See, it was a premonition.
Yes.
To what was happening in the show.
So, and then we get a little bit more insight into the helmet aspect, which massive plot hole if you start thinking about Rebels and what happened with fucking Sabine and all the shit that happened on Mandalore.
So this lends into a separate kind of sidebar about. Big Sweet had brought that up too, that people were talking about it being a plot holeness, and so I think we have to make a delineation between what we saw pre-Purge. So you had the Purge of the Mandalorians, right?
Yeah.
So they went through that whole thing. Whatever, I think that this code with the if somebody takes your helmet off of you or something like that, I don't think this is like Mandalorian standard shit that we would have seen in Clone Wars. I think this is something that's specific to since the Purge to hide who they are it is a defense mechanism, right? Because they're anonymous,
right? And it's this particular sect of Mandalorians,
right? I think it has to do with more either with that particular tribe and post Purge because they're really trying to stay isolated so that they can build their numbers back up.
Sure, okay.
So. I don't see it as a plot hole. I just see it as something that this is what we're looking at right now in this particular time frame.
Yeah.
Remember, this is post the Empire, right? Yeah. So it's in that Western like lawlessness as you're going through everything. And keeping in that theme, and this is the Cowboys cowboy hat. You know, like, hey, has anybody ever seen this thing with you? When's the last time somebody saw you without this helmet? I was about their age, and points out the window at the kids.
And that's the thing. He reveals that he hasn't taken his helmet off in front of somebody else since he was a kid. But also admitting that he takes it off still.
Yeah,
that was the question.
Motherfucker's got to eat.
Right, that was the question that me and Kristen had after like the first episode. Is like, well, how does he wash his face, or how does he eat? You know, does he like only eat through a straw? Like,
so it was great because he said that, like, oh, when's the last time you had that off? It's like, yesterday.
Yeah,
it's real nonchalantly, like, yeah, duh, what the fuck, man? I got to take a shower.
Right. So that's good. So that cleared up that little bit of confusion.
We have I just thought of the in Robot Chicken when Bob A. Feet.
Yeah.
And when he's answering the door and it's
in a robe.
It's Boba in the robe. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, but he's still in his helmet.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have the part where him and Cara Dune, they fight off these fucking savages that were ravaging the village, who had an AT-ST. Never really explained how they came in possession of it, but, you know, this is, again, post-Empire. There's probably fucking Empire relics and ships and vehicles spread fucking everywhere throughout the galaxy. This group of fucking savages probably just came across it somehow when the Empire beat feet and got the fuck off the planet.
Oh, and the illusion when he was going into the planet, though, I thought was interesting at that it's off the beaten path and doesn't really had no activity. So it even makes it that much stranger that there would have been a walker there.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of those things I don't think we're ever going to get any follow-up to.
Probably not.
Because this was really one of those kind of one-and-done things. He goes into the village, helps them fight off those guys, tells the fucking single bitch, like, you ain't getting it. You know, I'm moving on.
Yep.
Even though...
and I think there was a part of him that wanted it.
Yeah.
I think there's a part of him that wanted, like the idea of, like, having that Robot Chicken flashback where he's like still has his helmet on, but he's in like regular clothes, or like just chilling in bed with this broad.
Yeah. Do you think he like bangs chicks with the helmet on still?
I to be honest, I don't think he's gotten laid.
But if he were to, like, would he keep the helmet on?
Probably.
All right.
Probably.
Just curious.
Or takes it off and then kills her.
Oh,
right. I just used you for what I just made you a cum dumpster, so I'm gonna go ahead and kill you.
What's the insect that does that? They like rip off the
praying mantis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, I've mated, so now I will eliminate you.
Yeah.
And whatever. Did I just say cum dumpster on the fucking podcast?
Wow. Oh my god. I've got stupid in stereo. Anyway. So yeah, they fight him off. They take down the AT-ST. I love the way they made the AT-ST seem kind of like a
monster.
Yeah,
with the red eyes.
Yeah. Whereas you don't ever see the person inside piloting the thing. It's more like its own separate like creature almost.
Yep.
Obviously, we know that's not the case, but
yeah, they personified it as almost like a dragon, like a fire-breathing dragon.
Yeah.
And when it was walking and taking steps and like looking down and just gingerly taking steps forward, yeah, it was
very lifelike.
It was lifelike. God damn it! It had that feeling of what a walker should feel like.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a feeling of like, here's somebody trying to use a walker in a show that it doesn't belong.
Right.
It moved. It felt like everything it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
The sounds, the fucking everything about it. And I think people were making allusions to the Ewok village, and like they were making correlations to the Ewoks and shit like that, which makes a lot of sense because that's really when we saw the AT-ST. Like my first, like I had the AT-ST toy, and I got it just before Jedi, or the Christmas of Jedi came out.
Sure.
So I had an AT-ST with the fucking push button on the back, and so oh god, it just made myself dizzy. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, moving on. They fight off the guys. They destroy the AT-ST. Mando was ready to leave Baby Yoda in the village with the fucking hot single mom, and was like, "You take care of him. I'm out." Until the very last scene where somebody with a fucking tracking fob shows up, sneaking around in the fucking bush, takes his sniper rifle out, has the target on fucking Baby Yoda.
Right.
So this is the point.
Getting ready to take the headshot.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting, because then you hear the shot in the distance.
Right.
I'm expecting him to look over and Baby Yoda's just got a big fucking hole in his chest.
Right.
You know, like I'm like, they better not fucking do that. So obviously,
Could you imagine if they did? Like,
that'd have been so
get
fucked
the
up.
fuck out. It hurt my heart.
Yeah, like everybody would have been pissed at that point. Thankfully, they didn't. Cara Dune to the rescue. She killed the guy, but obviously the fucking guild knows where he is now, and they got to beat Feet Off Planet.
Yep.
And that's kind of where we're left. But it was a great one-off episode. Comes in, has his little adventure, and then leaves. Very true to the Western style format,
Yeah.
which was fucking great. And again, entertaining throughout. You had some great Baby Yoda moments. You had some good Mando moments. And a lot of good action. It was a great episode. I've heard people complain. It's like, oh, it wasn't as good as the second or third. Fuck off. Like, it was great. Great episode.
Yeah, again, maybe those other people need to manage their expectations, and I actually waited longer to watch this particular episode.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get up first thing in the morning because we were off, right? So I kind of worked it into my day where I watched it a little bit later, avoided social media because I know people had watched it.
Yeah, same here.
And,
like we didn't watch it until that Friday night. So.
Yeah, so it was, and I was anticipating it all day though. I mean, honestly, I was like, I'm going to watch. Okay, now I was working on laundry and decided, okay, I'm going to watch it now. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I'm just, it's something to look forward to. I don't watch TV. I'm not a series watcher. I've never gotten into a Game of Thrones or something like that where I've anticipated shit like this. So for me, this is really the first one where I've been like really sold on it.
Yeah.
And it just so happens to be, one of my favorite things on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's associated with. So it makes it easy, I guess. But as somebody who's never really been excited about a show that is getting ready to come on, not in years anyway. I think they're doing a great job. I think they're doing a good job of having a weekly show that gives us 30 minutes of entertainment and stays within itself.
Yeah.
So,
and all of our listener base, I think everybody in the private Facebook group, nobody's had a negative thing to say about this.
And if you do have a negative thing to say, bring it. I want to hear it. I want to hear from our especially our listener base because they have a better feel for us than anybody. Mm-hmm. If you have something that you think may let us know because I'd love to talk about it and not just to say like you're fucking stupid like Eagles fans that call into fucking WIP.
Yeah.
No, because you're part of our inner circle and I really want you to I want your feedback. I want to see what you're talking about because, hey, it may very well be relevant. Yeah. But the reality is when I watch the show and I enjoy it, and it makes me generally happy to watch this show, I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah.
You may find something, you may find a hole in it somewhere, and I'm going to like, okay, sure, but I still enjoy it.
Right.
And
now, Forbes posted an article, I think this came out today. No, a couple days ago. And I had to pull this because the title alone says it all. Star Wars fans aren't arguing about The Mandalorian, and it's weird. And the whole article basically talks about the same thing that we talked about last week, how this has kind of brought the Star Wars fandom together in a way that we haven't been unified in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Just because it's so good. And this is the thing that I've been trying to drive home for so fucking long, especially after The Last Jedi, right? Some people come out,
we continue to apologize for The Last Jedi.
Well, no, it's because so many people come out and be like, oh, you just don't like The Last Jedi because you're a sexist or you're a this or you're a that. It's like, no, because it was shit quality. The reason why The Mandalorian is so popular isn't because of any of that other stuff. It's because it's good quality content.
Yeah.
There's fucking good female characters, female directors, all this stuff. Shit we've already talked about, right? So, if we as Star Wars fans don't like something because we're sexist, then why do we like The Mandalorian so much?
Yeah.
Because it's good fucking quality. That's why.
Yep.
And that's the thing that's bringing us all together because there's, like we said, there's barely a negative thing to say about this whole fucking series so far. It's just been that goddamn good.
Yeah. And I would think that at this point too, the uniqueness of it would have worn off and we would have started finding things for people to actually find holes in.
Not yet.
No, it's just good. It's really well done.
Yeah. Because when you have when you have somebody like Jon Favreau behind it, bringing in some good directors, your Dave Filoni's and everybody else, and you put your heart and soul into it, and you put good quality work into it, it should turn out great, which it has. So I absolutely love it, and I I anticipate they'll maintain this level of quality throughout the season and hopefully beyond. Moving on.
Right.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
So this game came out, 2 weeks ago now? It's been a while since it came out.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, and, we've been trying to play through it, and now this is where we're going to have our big final, I guess, say on the game. I don't know if you would even call this a review, but we're going to kind of treat it as one. So yes, to start off, I did not finish this game. Not for lack of trying.
Right.
And we'll get into that. But I couldn't finish the game. However, there is a 3.5 hour YouTube video with all the cinematics
Really?
in the game, and I watched a good portion of that. There were points in that where I'm like,
watch it? Did you watch it like Kristen watches our YouTube feed?
No, because I actually watched the end.
Ah, very good.
So which was the most important part. So I broke this down into 4 categories. We can kind of talk about it. Again, spoiler alert, if you don't want to be spoiled on this, now might be the time to change the dial. I broke it into graphics, gameplay, story, and replayability. And we can just kind of go down the line. You always start with graphics, right? You want to know how a game looks. So let's talk about that first. Because this is real hot and cold for me when it comes to graphics. The visual presentation of the thing.
Right.
Because in some instances, like the opening level where you're in the fucking shipyards and everything else, I thought that was beautiful. Even though a lot of scenes are like dark,
right,
and it's kind of hard to make it out, I think the level of detail that was put into that when it comes to like you're getting into some of the ships, or you've got one of the fucking drop ships and there's a bunch of fucking clone helmets all sprung all over the floor.
Right.
I thought shit like that was beautiful. But then you get to some of the more close-up scenes of the characters. And I really feel, at least in the Xbox version, they fucking really skimped out when it came to character details.
Okay.
I don't know what your
I'll
thoughts
let you
are.
Well, so I think you can say that to a certain for certain characters.
Some got better treatment than others. I will admit that.
The Night Sister.
Yeah, she looked good.
She was rendered really, really well.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the difference is. Like, what's his nuts? Fucking
Cal.
Cal.
Yeah.
Cal, I think, like Cal, Padawan Cal. Mm-hmm. Like when he's actually working with his master, like those cutscenes, I think were really rendered very well. Like the scenes where he's actually in the fucking Padawan dojo, like going through certain things, I think those are rendered excellently. But then the Cal that we see running around most of the game it's off. It's just off, just a little bit.
So, and I'll tell you the way I feel about some of these, especially Cal, who's the little fucking dude with the 4 arms that's piloting the ship throughout the game.
The Mantis, I know the ship's called the Mantis.
The Mantis pilot guy, and then what's her name? Sarah, what the hell?
Bug-Eyed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel with all 3 of those characters. Have you ever played a video game where it's like supposed to be like a highly graphical game? You get to an area and everybody's like, they're not rendered well. They're like, it's like low res for a couple of seconds, and then eventually it like snaps into high res.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. I feel like these characters are always in that low res version.
Yeah, I would agree.
When you zoom in and you get these cutscenes and everything else. Mm-hmm. Now, when you get later to the chick from Dathomir or the second sister, I think those 2 were done beautifully.
Yeah.
Like those are really good. But fucking Cal, the one former Jedi chick, and the fucking pilot, their faces look all fuzzy, not good detail, and especially like the former Jedi chick, I can never remember her name, with the fucking weird buggy eyes, the way they rendered her face. Now this is based off of a real actress, the one that did the voice. Looks a lot better in real life than this fucking digital version of her that looks, because man, she looks like a weird fucking alien when I think she's supposed to be a human. Mm-hmm. Really, really strange looking, and I don't think that they did any of them any favors.
Yeah, I feel like there's a missed opportunity there, and I'm not entirely certain why. Mm-hmm. Because they had plenty of time. It's not like they had here's the graphics. This is what we're going to do. This is the gaming engine. And these things. Generally speaking, not only just with the characters rendering, but even some of the going in between parts of the map and things like that.
Yeah.
You also got the same hang up where it was like it would catch itself rendering and things like that. It did. It seemed like a game in the early 2000s that they released with a very high end graphic that the machine couldn't necessarily support.
Right? Yeah. That's kind of the feeling.
There's
I got.
I have an Xbox One S.
Yeah.
There's no reason that capability. That's the standard right now for Xbox. There's an Xbox X that's out there.
But there's very few games taking advantage of that.
Yeah, and I don't think that this is one of those games.
Right, and I also had the S that I played it on.
Right.
So
I just look, you have to caveat all this with like we're super spoiled with what we got out of Battlefront because there wasn't a moment in Battlefront where you say this was poorly rendered.
Yeah.
Like or they didn't. They spared no expense.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah, Battlefront still, even though that's came out what
4 or 5 years ago.
Almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, 2015, so 4 years ago.
So you're talking about a game that, to me, graphically still establishes the baseline.
Yeah.
Because Battlefront 2 and this game don't hold a candle to what Battlefront gave us as far as the graphics.
Right, which, I mean, makes you think they probably cut some corners to save on cost, which comes...
And again, I don't understand why. I don't understand why they decided that we're going to go ahead and let this release like this, unless there's some... It's not online.
Well, it's all about the money.
Okay, I get that, but you've got it's its own thing. It's not online. There's all this. There's not all this extra backbone that you have to develop. You're playing through this story. Now, granted, we get to go back into the having completed the game. I am in the Mantis, and I'm able to go back to the other planets to go to get 100%.
That's part of our replayability. You're jumping ahead a little bit.
Oh well, I just from a graphic standpoint, I'm wondering if. I don't see the complication. Granted, I'm not a coder, but I know what they've already done. I know what they have established. This is not an online game, which is way more complicated to get. Like when I go on this new Call of Duty game, right, where it is with an Activision login, you're playing with people that are on PlayStation, that are on a PC, on the Xbox. All of you can play on the same fucking map against each other and have no issues with the graphics. How do you make it a game that just stands on itself without all the online interoperability and does not meet that same criteria on graphics?
And again, I think that's them cutting corners, them not spending the full amount of money they could and probably should have spent, because as we go on, there are some other issues I had that I think go back to them cutting costs, not spending the time, putting out some better quality code, which we'll get into, but. Yeah, graphically, definitely inferior in my book to the previous two EA Star Wars games that have been released.
I would agree. I was a little disappointed in that.
But graphics don't make a game. Minecraft is one of the most popular video games ever created, and look at the graphics on that. So obviously you can't fully judge a game by its graphics. So let's talk about the gameplay.
Okay.
As it started getting closer to release, we were started to be given more hints that this was going to be more of a Dark Souls-like game, which I don't know how familiar you are with Dark Souls. But incredibly hard fucking video game series by today's standards. Because let's be honest, games today compared to the difficulty of games when we were growing up, quite different. Because most games today are designed so anybody can eventually play through it.
Yeah,
and
you're not isolating. You're like only gamers are going to play this game. You want playability for everybody.
Mm-hmm. But the Dark Souls games kind of. Take a different route. They are much more difficult on purpose. And you have to do things like memorize patterns of attacking enemies and shit like that. And this game really does kind of follow suit with that.
Yeah.
Because I will say, I played it on the second easiest difficulty. You have the easiest, which is story mode, which is basically just go through the motions to absorb the storyline, which quite frankly I'm not interested in because I want at least some challenge to my video games. So I had it on the next highest difficulty, and motherfucker, even at that difficulty, this shit was really fucking hard because, and maybe it's just like my old fucking reflexes aren't what they used to be, but goddamn, I died a fucking lot in this game as I was playing it.
Me too. And I'm not the best guy. I'm not these types of games I generally don't do well at. Like I always played the Tomb Raider games because I was interested in I made this correlation before with Tomb Raider and how these
Right.
play and the puzzles and shit like that. I enjoy that, but I wasn't always the guy that was going to beat it. I wasn't, I'm not the hardest level guy trying to go in there and get my ass beat, for so long. I played at the same level you did and got killed a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought I've got some strategies and I picked up some stuff, for some of these boss levels, and it was fucking hard.
Yeah. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but for me at this point in my life where my time is limited and I know yours is too,
Right.
I just don't have the fucking time to put this much into a single game like this and
Right.
die over and over and over and slowly grind your way through it, slowly learn all of this stuff.
And that part of the problem is you have not only a time factor, right, for how long it's going to take you to complete the game, but you have there seemed to be, for the patterns, there wasn't necessarily a rhyme or reason to it. Like
Sure.
they're going to be extremely difficult when they get down to a certain point, and then you get fucking all right, or suddenly, all right, great, I got full health. I still have my 2 stims left, and I'm beating the shit out of her, and next thing you know, I'm done.
Yeah.
I fucking get killed. Like, what the fuck just happened? Like, how did that there was a disparity there, I
Yeah.
think, a little bit.
And
With the bosses.
Right. Now, I talked about this last week a little bit. I got to a point in the game where I was on Dathomir. And or no, it wasn't Dathomir. It was the planet before Dathomir, where you go into that fucking little temple, which, by the way, you brought up the whole Tomb Raider thing. A lot of the gameplay style of this kind of reminds me of like a Tomb Raider combined with like a Zelda combined with like a Force Unleashed. You're taking elements of a lot of those games and putting them into this, which I was not expecting. I was not expecting the Tomb Raider aspect of this game.
No,
at
neither
all.
was I.
Like, I was expecting just plowing through fucking hallways and just like destroying enemies en masse, not, working your way through corridors, climbing up this, looking down this, solving
Gotta
a puzzle
jump
to
for
get to
this.
this, and pushing a ball onto this fucking thing.
Yeah,
like,
and-
I was not.
And that's
expecting any of that.
I enjoyed that aspect of the game. As surprised, I was as surprised as you are, and I like the fact that you had to, like, you didn't acquire all of your skills right away. That you had those flashbacks to the Padawan where you could learn and enable a new level in your Jedi ability,
Right, and
the
that
Force
kind of takes me
abilities.
back to like a Zelda, right? Where it's like you're going through and you see something over there, but you can't fucking get there.
Right.
And then later on in the game, you get the fucking ladder that like lets you go across like a river, and then you're
Right.
like, ooh, now I can go back and go to that thing. Very, very similar style in this. Again, not a bad thing, just not what I was expecting. So going back to that one level.
Excuse me.
With the temple. I talked about it last week where I got to a point where the only way I could progress to this level was I had to start at this meditation point, slide down this fucking slide, do like a triple wall fucking run,
Yep.
get blown up a thing, go down the ramp, do another fucking wall thing, and then it drops you right next to an Inquisitor and a fucking other scout guy with a stick.
Yep.
And I would immediately get killed. Took me like 3 or 4 minutes just to get to that point.
Yep.
Get killed, takes me all the way back to that fucking meditation thing. Took me a dozen fucking tries to get through that. Worse than that, though, I finally realized, so as I have to respawn every time after that. Now, if you fall down like a fucking pit or you miss a jump or something, the game
Right.
just immediately puts you right back to the point where you were
With
before
a
that.
little bit of a hit in your health.
Yes. When you die and you have to respawn, completely separate thing. You don't just immediately
Right.
respawn there. I timed it. 55 fucking seconds. Every single time I hit that A button to respawn, I sat there and I watched that little fucking dial spin in
Yeah.
the goddamn corner. 55 seconds per respawn. Which, when you don't have a lot of fucking free time in your life, that's a lot to be waiting just to go and fucking die again,
And again, when you're thinking about, like, with the coding, like, you just loaded all that same material to
Right.
go through it. Why are you having to reload
Yes.
all that shit? You shouldn't have to. Like, the purpose of a save point is to help enable the game to play better in and of itself.
Right, to where you can just like immediately go back to that.
Exactly.
If it was almost like, even if it was 10 seconds, that'd be fine. But you're waiting an entire fucking minute to respawn.
And this game is 8 gig big. I mean, it's not like they're saving size.
Yeah.
We're not concerned with that anymore. That's not a thing.
Right.
Like we're not. We got to make it this big to fit on a disc.
Mm-hmm.
Like because even the discs that you buy now have to have online content enabled to download and actually get set up.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as just an independent game.
Yeah.
You're going to have to download stuff. You're going to have the space on your fucking drive to do it. And so that should not be the issue. And I agree with you. It was so fucking aggravating to do Respawn. I get up, go fucking take a leak, get a snack, come back, and now I might be standing at the meditation point.
Yeah,
after that time, and that was frustrating.
And I think that goes back to the coding. I think they cut a bunch of corners, and instead of using the RAM properly and everything else, they're just like, we'll just fucking make them completely reload, which is so infuriating in a game where you're constantly respawning because you're constantly getting killed. And that was the point where I decided I'm not going to even try to push through to beat this game, and I'm not going to fucking switch to story mode because that would just be boring. You know, if you're just fucking sleepwalking through the whole goddamn game.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to pivot. I still played a little bit, but I didn't like put that much effort into it, and I just watched the fucking YouTube video for the story content.
Well, I mean, we're kind of talking about this. As far as the gameplay standpoint, having finished it, right, and gotten to the end, there was a couple of places where I was really glad that I got to play it.
Yeah.
The scene in the walker where you're fucking in the cockpit of the walker.
I did see that in the video.
It
looked awesome.
Of the AT-AT.
Yeah.
And you're like, that part of it, that was so much fucking fun.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was a level where you could just be doing that for a while.
Yeah.
That little interlude with that. That was just fun. That was just fun to be in the AT-AT and have that opportunity. Other than that, there was
again, I don't dislike the gameplay in this. Like
I'm thinking
there's-
about the parts that were actually enjoyable, where I was like, I'm glad that I played it at this level because I was able to like, there was a satisfaction level of getting there,
and
I never really was satisfied like that.
I was like that when I would go through areas where it was like a bunch of stormtroopers, right? Like 3 stormtroopers here, then a couple more behind them, and a couple more. It was challenging because if you fucking let your guard down, they would all just fucking kill you. But
how long did it take you to figure out that when you force pushed, you could force push them off the fucking cliff?
Oh yeah,
and get them out of your way right away.
Well, even better than that, the fucking the guys who shot the rockets, like
send them back to them.
Yeah. Oh, that was great when I finally fucking figured out.
Well, you had to do that with the ATSTs. Like when it was raining shit on you, I'm like, how the fuck? Because I thought all I'd have to do the entire time was deflect use the lightsaber, deflect back at him. No, I got more kill points for fucking grabbing the rockets and shit and throwing it back at him.
See, that's funny because that's not the way that I did it. The way I did it was I was just constantly hitting the B button and just fucking like doing rolls and just like hit him and then roll and roll and roll and just fucking.
There was a couple where I got in between his legs and I messed him up a little bit there, but that's to prevent that. That's why I rained down with those little.
Yeah.
There's like this force slow thing that would happen where if you got shocked by this thing, like it would slow you down a little bit and your ability to use the force was deadened a little bit. But
yeah, I just moved really quickly to beat them for that. But yeah, it's a lot, and that's the thing. There are different ways to beat enemies. It's not just like one way, except for like bosses. There's certain patterns and shit that you have to follow. But I mean, for the most part, there's creative. You can be creative, like using force pushes or doing the force slow. When you told me last week, you're like, "Hey, use the force slow on them if it gets too hard." I'm like, "Oh, wow, this makes it a lot easier."
Yeah.
But even when you're on Dathomir, fuck, man, when you're fighting all those Zabraks, those guys were fucking mean.
Yeah. And you're getting rained on from fucking arrows, and you can't figure out where the fuck it's coming from, and you're trying to like. You have the ability to use the left stick to fucking deflect while you're running, so it auto deflects, which was nice, but it didn't help me identify where the fuck they were coming from. So I'm like, yeah, God, where the fuck is he?
So, it's good that you bring that up because another issue that I had with the coding in this game, I hit a bug at one point on Dathomir when I'm like respawning over and over again because I kept getting my ass killed.
Right.
Where I like did this sequencing through the menu where I'm just like hitting fucking B and just trying to get out of the menu, and something happened to where the guys that shoot the arrows, they just didn't do anything. They just stood there and kind of stared at me. The guys with the sticks would still attack me. I'd kill them, and I'd walk up to the arrow guys, and they're just like... and I'm like, this is weird. So in that same like respawn where those guys never attacked me was the first time that I got to the station where you can build the dual-bladed lightsaber.
Uh-huh.
But because I was somehow bugged, I couldn't click on the thing. It had the little fucking glowy thing over it where you could interact with it, but I kept hitting the right stick and it never interacted with it. I'm like, that's weird. Because it looks like something that I should be able to use. Carry on, whatever. Get killed a couple more times, get back to that point. I'm like, let me try and click this again. And it'll fucking let me in. And that's when I created the double-bladed lightsaber. So,
because Big Sweet had told me, like, oh yeah, I went to Dathomir out of sequence to get the double-bladed lightsabers. So I did the same thing. And it gets to a point, like, because the story's not advancing, that all right, this is as far as you're going to go.
Yeah.
But I was able to get the dual-bladed lightsaber and then go back on the ship, run back to the fucking ship and then take off and continue the storyline.
Yeah.
But you still have to come back to Dathomir. So
sure, because that fucking asshole won't let you go to the fucking pyramids until you're ready.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah,
we'll get to the story in a minute.
Yeah. So gameplay wise, there's a lot of good redeeming stuff. If you have the time and the patience, it's probably a very rewarding experience.
Sure. If you could sit down and have 3-4 hours where all you can do is just keep playing and have a couple of days of that, you'll get through it.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I had a couple of days where there was enough not going on where I could actually sit down and do that, and Kathy was studying, so I just was able to sit there and just play.
Yeah, and for me, I'm at a point now where I'm just too fucking impatient. I sat there for an hour dying over and over. I'm like, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
And that happened to me a couple of times at a couple of different spots to the point where I'm just like, I'm not even gonna bother.
Dude, that second battle with the second sister, that shit was infuriating. It really was, as many times as it was dying.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the ninth sister, the big brute sister.
Yeah.
It was all right. They're going to respawn me all the way to fuck over here, and I'm going to jump into this thing. Well, thank God it didn't make me go through the whole fucking story again.
Yeah.
And the part where we're fighting the second sister before, when you defeat, basically Vader takes her out.
Right.
And
spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the story here in a second.
Yeah.
But even that one, like, it respawns you. You have to get all the way to the fucking platform. It goes through the opening graphic again. You don't need to do all that. Respawn me right back into the fight.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to, like, you can reset her strength level.
Sure.
Whatever. There's zero benefit to me going through that, because if in games previously, like in Destiny, for example, which the little bit of the open worldness of the tiny fraction of open world, that ability, it gives me that little bit of reminder of Destiny. If you were in a boss level and it would spawn you out of it, but you were able to pick up fucking ammunition and shit like that. You were able to fucking grab a bunch of shit before you went in to fight again, so that you're actually improving your situation, as opposed to continuing to go into the same situation with the same fucking weapon, the same strategy and everything else, and you get your ass handed to you.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I got to tell you this story. Because I just wasn't paying attention early on, I didn't use a lot of stims. Because I was thinking this was like every other fucking game where you pick up stims throughout your fucking adventures.
Yeah.
And you got to reserve them for when you really need them. Not for every time you fucking meditate, you get your 3 stims back with fucking BDO or BD1.
BD1.
Yeah. So I barely ever use stims for like the first 3 planets, because I'm like, nah, I got to conserve them and save them for when I really need them. Not realizing that they fucking reset every time you reset your health at a meditation thing.
And there's a couple of them where you would meditate and all the people that you just killed would fucking revive, because it's a warning. It says like, once you do this, once you hit rest, then how about that? Like, how did you feel about the unlocking of the Jedi ability as you progress through the game? Like using the points.
Oh, like the skill trees? Like that's fine. That's typical RPG fare, which I love role-playing games. Right. So that was right up my alley. I had no issues with that.
Neither do I. I'm just curious what your take on that was.
I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the skills, though. That was the thing. Like, there were a lot that I didn't use.
Well, that's to me, that feeling of Force Unleashed, I think Force Unleashed was a better game. Because
they did that a lot better in that game.
Yeah, how you use the Force and just it could have been better.
Right.
They have precedence. They have, okay, we're making a game. The Force Unleashed was made. Granted, you're not going to steal code or anything. I'm like, look what you could do with this fucking character and how you could use the Force.
Right.
The one Force ability that I used all the time and I loved it every fucking time I did it was the sequence where you pull the fucking Stormtrooper into you and you whoop.
Yeah.
Fucking light the lightsaber through his fucking chest. Like, instant kill every fucking time. every time I enjoyed it. It was like, yes, I'm gonna get the next one.
Yeah.
It was fucking great.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, the skills didn't make me feel that much more powerful. It was just like, okay, now I got to remember this fucking button sequence to do this kind of an attack.
And they weren't, they weren't super complicated sequences, but it was enough where you're like, I found myself button mashing.
Yeah, that's what
like
I
a
did
noob.
most of the time.
Like
Yeah.
I just like, fuck me. I should not. I can go out there and I can solve this fucking puzzle, but I can't actually have an effective sequence with this fucking force ability.
Yeah, and it's that weird mix of like Tomb Raider exploring, like all kinds of secrets spread out everywhere, then combine it with the fucking like difficult combat. It just, I don't know, it almost feels like it didn't quite have a solid identity as far as gameplay goes.
And it was a mixed group of programmers. It wasn't just EA. You had all these different minds going into it, like all of them brilliant in their own way, and making that collaboration happen.
Yeah.
It's tough. I agree with you though. I feel like it was just a little bit. It was incomplete.
Yeah.
For a lot of things, except for the story.
Yeah, which the story now we'll go ahead and get into. So how many times is Star Wars going to go back to this fucking well, where the main driver of a story is, we've got a list of Force-sensitive kids, and we can't let the bad guys get a hold of it.
It's the Mission Impossible, ultimately the Mission Impossible mission,
right?
To get the knock list back that has all the fucking agents on it.
But yeah, we saw this in fucking Clone Wars. We saw it in Rebels. I think they've mentioned it in fucking books before, and now it's one of the main plot drivers in this fucking game.
Yeah, who made this list? That's what kills me. Like, you have this fucking list,
right? And is it the same list that's getting passed on from fucking generation to generation? And
maybe it is.
And it's like, why are you keeping this? Like, it's gonna probably fall into the wrong hands.
Yeah.
And I think we had a pretty good resolution to that whole storyline at the end. But yeah, you start off as Cal, survivor of the Purge, on a fucking shipyard, basically hiding the fact that he's a Force user, is kind of forced into exposing himself, ladies.
Yeah.
And immediately is on the run because the fucking Inquisitors get word of him, and he comes upon the ship captain and the former Jedi chick.
God, we should really know these names.
I know. You'd think I'd have written that down. But the buggy-eyed chick.
Yeah. Bug eyes and forearms.
Yeah, there we go. Bug eyes and forearms are their new names.
Yep.
And
I like it.
I don't think it even ever explained how they found him, and especially that fast, as he was still on the run from the fucking shipyard planet.
Well, especially since she had shut herself off from the Force. Mm-hmm. She's not using the Force to find him yet. Yeah. Maybe it's one of those things where if you do the prequel version of this, and they're just chasing down leads to find where Jedi might be. Like, here's a story on a holonet about a prisoner who escaped in a certain remarkable way, and it's like, oh wow, that's probably a Jedi.
Okay,
let's go pick him up.
All right,
that's kind of what I assumed.
Okay.
They're just people that are watching the holo feeds to figure out. Okay, that story. I bet you that's a fucking Jedi. Let's go find him.
Okay,
but the Inquisitors are doing the same thing.
Yeah,
they're on the other end of that spectrum. Or shit, if you really wanted to find Jedi, fucking follow the people that are like the other Force users that are trained to find and kill Jedi, right?
Yep.
So just follow the Inquisitors around.
Yeah. So they get together, and she's got this big grand idea. We're gonna rebuild the Jedi Order. It's gonna be us. Which, yeah, okay, whatever. And they start by going back to like one of the oldest Jedi temples, which leads them to the fucking ghost of her former master, who did all this other shit, which leads them on these adventures to all these other fucking planets where they're looking for this guy's Grandmaster plan, which ultimately we end up with the list of kids and the holocron, blah, 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 blah. She drops a hint. She talks about her past, right? She cut herself off from the Force because we find out later she was captured after the Purge, fucking tortured, eventually gave away the location of her apprentice who was hiding out.
Right.
Which immediately, I knew exactly where they were going with this.
Really?
Oh, they fucking telegraphed that so hard. Where, she tells the story to fucking Cal, and he's like, well, where's your apprentice now? Did she make it? She's like, no, she's dead. And I'm like, okay, that's that fucking Inquisitor. I guarantee you that's her fucking apprentice. And sure enough.
See, I didn't pick up on it like that.
Oh, the second she started telling that story, I'm like,
maybe I wasn't paying enough attention to the story.
Maybe, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, her apprentice is one of these fucking Inquisitors. And sure enough, it was. Which she was the second sister who, a really good, God damn it. Words are hard to make sometimes.
I know.
So the voice actress for
Right.
that second sister, the chick that was her apprentice, looks perfect. Like, you compare her to the actress, because I looked up the actress.
Yeah.
Pretty good looking gal too. But yeah, the fucking face render of her
It was
really
her in
good.
goth makeup, basically.
Yeah, she looks good. Yeah, I do kind of like that whole goth look. That really did something for me. But yeah, they go through all these fucking adventures. They come across Saw Gerrera on fucking Kashyyyk as they're like freeing Wookiees.
And listen, that whole bit with Saw Gerrera, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind seeing Saw Gerrera.
It was the least annoying Saw Gerrera appearance I think we've had so far.
That's a
in
fair
Star
statement.
Wars canon.
It's a fair statement. And while some of your interaction as like, okay, we're going to use this Jedi who just showed up and fucking to get to the end,
Yeah.
whatever. But the rendering of him was real good. Did they get the same guy?
I think it was what's his name?
The
Yeah.
voice was perfect. Yeah, we don't. Why would we know actors' names and shit? What the fuck? Sarah Junda.
And Grease nuts.
Greased Dritus nuts.
Yeah.
That's
so,
almost better. Greased Dritus
Yeah.
nuts. Grease these nuts.
Yeah.
Grease these nuts.
Yes, all right. They're correcting us in the chat for the names of the characters. And we're correcting them.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. But, I mean, you're just kind of going from planet to planet, tracking down all this different shit. Her apprentice is revealed eventually that it... And, I don't know. You eventually get to the part where you go back to the place where she was originally fucking captured and tortured.
Incarcerated, yeah.
And you find her apprentice there. You beat the apprentice. And you're like, oh, we win. You know? They're having a back and forth. What's her name? Fucking Bug-Eye is trying to tell her, come back from the light or from the dark,
Right.
Sorry, I did you wrong and all this shit. And then you hear the fucking breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And then fucking Vader shows up.
So I was not expecting Vader to show up.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was.
Yeah, and so I thought that was a pretty good reveal.
Yeah.
For that, like Vader's just like, fucking, I knew you were weak, to this Inquisitor, and just fucking snuffs her out.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. Like, yeah, there's no coming back for this broad. Rip.
Yep. And even better than that was right after that, fucking Bug-Eye and Cal are like ready to fight Vader. Fucking Bug-Eye runs at him and he's just like,
Gone.
Just immediately just whoosh, like throws her into that chasm or whatever.
Yeah, the fucking fiery pit behind him. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, that was a good way to get rid of her annoying ass.
Yeah.
Right? I did not expect her to come back from that. I was just like, okay, flicked her like a fucking booger. And then like, shit, here's your opportunity for Force Unleashed to fucking really like have this fucking battle out.
Yep.
And as it turns out, no, the underwater fucking layer is going to start imploding or do some other shit that you started earlier. But the Vader reveal I thought was actually really good. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that. And
he's got to get involved at this point. At this point in the timeline, they're going to get Vader involved somehow.
Yeah. So it is also the point where I realized that they were not going to affect the canon at all with this game. Mm-hmm. There were aspects of it like, you know what? They have an opportunity here to really play into what's going on with the canon. And then as you got to the point where Vader has the reveal, I'm like, yeah, no, these people are just, these are just peons.
Yeah.
The Vader appearance to me solidified the game. And at the end too, with spoiler alert, the destruction of the holocron.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, definitely close that fucking loop off. Now it's almost as if this never happened.
Yeah.
Like this entire fucking thing
it's just like,
was irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Grease nuts and fucking
Bug-Eye
serendipity have no relevance at all to the storyline.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where they could possibly like throw little references to them throughout canon, but yeah, no major implications whatsoever in this. I mean, we know they could potentially still be alive, but at this point in the sequel era, Cal would be fucking, what, 30 years older?
Yeah, that would be
35 years
It would
older?
be problematic to bring them back some kind of way. But
Yeah.
listen, if we know nothing else from the little bit we've seen of Rise of Skywalker, with all those fucking ships representing the rebellion and all those ships representing the fucking the revived Empire, who knows?
Right.
Who knows where they're going to reach back for fucking people?
Well, and it's probably just going to be another thing where it's a little hint where if you're paying attention, you see it and it's cool. But if you're just a casual
it's like the
viewer in
ghost
the audience,
appearing in fucking Rogue One. And,
or even think about what they did with fucking Battlefront 2 and Last Jedi. Remember we had the fucking the compass, right? Luke comes across fucking Dez, and right, Dez?
No, Luke was.
Fuck, Aiden's dad, whoever, or Aiden's fucking boyfriend.
Oh, fuck if I remember. God, Jesus Christ. I can't remember fucking Grease Nuts, let alone...
Oh, Del Mico. That's what it was. Del Mico.
Going to take your word for
the
it,
guy
sir.
who ends up boning Aiden to make the daughter.
Okay.
But yeah, he comes across Luke.
Oh, yeah, he dies, right?
Later on, yeah. But anyway, he came across Luke.
Wah, wah.
Luke takes that fucking compass, right? As they're looking through the Emperor's old fucking stash.
Right.
And then you see that on the fucking table on Luke Island, like a brief glance in The Last Jedi. And that's the only canon implications of the Battlefront 2 storyline. So it's probably going to be something similar. You're probably going to see some sort of a little reference, like they might have like fucking Cal and Bug-Eye in the background of a Resistance meeting or some shit like that.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I don't think you're going to get any serious canon implications from this. So... you talked about replayability. That's one thing where I think this game really excels, even over a game like The Force Unleashed, because there are so many secrets hidden throughout all of these fucking planets where even after you beat the game, like you mentioned, you can go back and you can fucking try to find them all, and you can try to go for 100% completion, which makes the game very replayable, in addition to the difficulty levels. So...
yeah, going back, I'll be honest, I went back and I'm fishing around on I can't remember the name of the planet, but it's the fucking shit. It's the planet that they turn into Starkiller.
Oh, Ilum. Yeah.
So I'm
well,
back
yeah, we
on
didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to go into that, but. So going through there's like an area that I just can't find that other fucking chest in, and it's like, and now I'm stuck in like some weird loophole, and I started to get frustrated. I'm like, you know what? I've already beat this game. I'm playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now, especially since over the Thanksgiving weekend was double XP, baby. So, and it goes more towards my fucking ADHD anyway of playing a shorter game, and I'll go back because I want to complete the game, but at the same time the story is done for me. There's not the only thing I'm going to enjoy is fucking stabbing to death a bunch of stormtroopers,
right?
So
yeah, and I'm sure they'll probably do some sort of DLC where they do a new adventure, maybe do more of a tie-in.
I bet you they don't. I would be shocked if they do anything else with this game.
Oh, you think what we have is what we're going to get?
I think that's it. I think that because otherwise, why give us an incomplete product if your plan is to just have more fucking shit? Unless you're going to open up those worlds entirely and make it online play like Destiny, where you have more missions to go in between planets. Unless they do something like that, if they fucking do that, I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Yeah, where they make a new planet that you can go to.
Yeah, they're like, okay. And again, as somebody who played Destiny, and I keep bringing it up, that's the enjoyable part. It's like, okay, I'm going to play out this particular thing. And I can do that on one planet and then play out a series of things, or I can bounce between these other planets. And they have a story that you can play out the storyline, and this planet opens up to a free world. Star Wars is desperately waiting for a game like that.
I know,
because there's so many planets and there's so much potential there. And case in point, Ilum, this Jedi temple. So by introducing this. Basically Starkiller base. Yeah. Like for anybody who's not playing the game or doesn't care to, you get as part of the story, you're getting Ilum, this base, which you could see is halfway developed.
Yeah, that's got that ring that's
around its equator of like it's the depth of where they're digging and mining it
Yeah.
to get whatever resources there. But there was a Jedi temple on that planet. So, not that it necessarily has any implications for the canon, but it makes Ilum, okay, and this makes more sense as to why it is the way it is.
Yeah.
It had, if they need, the Death Star needed so much kyber, right, in order to function. Like, let's go back to Rogue One, where they're getting all the kyber they can get to fucking be able to have the main gun effectiveness and DS1, right? So, all right, we're making a giant, like we're making a planet-sized weapon, not just a moon-size, not DS1, DS2. We're talking a planet that, what resource does it have naturally? Oh, it has kyber. Right? And Cal has to go into the caverns to get a piece of kyber that ends up breaking on him, where he has to fuse himself. Like, interesting thing that for a Jedi, it's a little bit of a playability thing.
Sure.
But great. So the resource on Ilum is kyber. Of course, they're going to turn that into a giant weapon. You know, DS1, DS2, kyber was a big part of it. Fuck. We don't even have to fucking transport it. This entire planet has a rich kyber source. There was a Jedi temple on it, so we knew it was there.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Let's turn that one into the fucking weapon.
Yeah, plus we've already hollowed out a good portion of the planet,
Yeah.
so let's fucking finish
For
the
whatever
job
reason, like, unless it comes out later that, yeah, but this was one of the planets. This was one of the planets they were mining. And you get in the Thrawn trilogy where they're mining these materials and fucking using pirates and shit to try and hide it from people. You know, this may have been one of the resources.
Right, and, you know, even though it's not guaranteed that it's Starkiller Base, people have done side-by-side comparisons of the screenshot of Ilum as you're coming in and Starkiller Base, almost identical, even to the point where Wikipedia even now references Ilum as the most likely planet that Starkiller Base was made from. So,
and just to in the fucking chat, damn it. Bronco Fett says yes, Ilum had a temple on it, as said in Clone Wars.
Bronco Fett and the fucking Clone Wars.
Which episode was it?
Yeah.
Because this is, as we compile a list of episodes we need to watch, this is one. Tell us. Tell us that episode is one of those episodes because it is a time sensitive thing.
Yeah.
It is a time. We have jobs. We can't sit there and watch episodically the entire Clone Wars series and get out of it what we're supposed to get out of. We have been not poisoned, but our whole view of it is tainted because we were already well past that. All the referencing and all the other things that are happening have already happened.
Yeah.
So we're going back to it, and those aren't reveals for us.
Right.
So you're watching something, it's like, okay, that had a bigger impact when you were watching the show real time. And now, looking back on it, that impact isn't the same. So to me, that's a fucking dud. It's a dud of an episode.
Yeah.
Like, if there's 5 or 6 episodes that you absolutely have to watch because it explains something more, awesome. Otherwise, we're calling it like it is in Jedi Fallen Order, where we're like looking at the planet and turning a Starkiller Base. I get it.
And Solsky he emphasizes our point. He wrote in the chat, he's watching Clone Wars now. He's seen 15 episodes, 3 were good.
Yeah.
That's exactly the way Clone Wars, at least the early seasons were.
It was look, there's a lot of it that's very, very kid-like. We're watching it for fucking, I'm not watching it to gain enjoyment out of it. I'm watching it to make references for the show.
Yeah.
This is like watching a documentary. Like, I don't need to see fucking Padme goes on an adventure with fucking 3PO. The bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need those episodes. Wash them away. I'm researching for a particular thing. I need the things that are relevant. And let me separate the wheat from the chaff, and we'll gain it that way. Now, when was it, season 7 is what we're talking about with the Clone Wars
Comes
coming
out
up
in February.
So when I'd like to be versed in what was going on, but guess what? We know what the fuck happened.
Right.
We know what happens in the future. So that is what Filoni and those guys, their challenge as the creators of this content, their challenge is keeping us engaged because we know the future.
Right. Now, the biggest difference, I'm going to say, and the reason why I want to do Season 7 real time is because this is going to be the first season of Clone Wars post George Lucas, after the buyout and everything else.
Right.
Because Lucas was directly involved in the rest of the Clone Wars, which is why you got a whole bunch of goofy fucking retarded episodes in those.
Yeah, but Rebels had some fucking snoozers too. And
not
Rebels
nearly as bad as Clone Wars, though.
Agreed, but yeah, I don't know.
I think we're going to have a lot more quality than garbage.
I think so too. And listen, I think the Clone Wars, I can't paint this wide brush, although I appear to be doing it. My intent is to not paint this wide brush over everything that the Clone Wars is sucks. It's not a binary thing. It is very how our perspective is of it, looking at it from we host a podcast about Star Wars. So we're looking at it, trying to get information from it, and I might as well be skimming through microfiche of just nonsense I don't give a shit about until I hit one keyword that, okay, now this is relevant to be able to talk about on a podcast.
Yeah.
If we tried to do show by show, kind of seasonally, the Clone Wars stuff, and we spent a lot of time talking about the shit that we didn't like.
Yeah.
And that's not the way to do this.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Right, because I mean that's not really fun for us.
Yeah, it's not fun. I don't want to necessarily shit on it because there are people that enjoyed it when they first saw it. And if I had watched it like I watched Rebels, remember, I watched Rebels well ahead of you.
Yes.
Most of the stuff that we did on Rebels, I had seen almost. I was DVRing it off of Disney XD. So I ingested Rebels, or I processed Rebels almost real time. So it didn't matter. Like it just tasted different.
Right.
You know, it just did because I was getting it fresh.
Sure.
The Clone Wars right now is not fresh. Now that episodes that are coming forth with now I'm mixing up episodes and chapters and seasons and everything else. So it's like, oh my god, it's a great problem to have if you're a Star Wars fan. But
real quick too, before we go off on too much more of a tangent, to close the book on Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, shit. We were talking about Fallen Order.
For me, from what I've played, and then of course what I've seen in the YouTube videos and everything, I think it's definitely a worthwhile game if you have the time and the patience for that style of game. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad game by any stretch. Yeah. I think there are some things that they could have done a lot better, but that can be forgivable because it is a pretty good Star Wars presentation.
The gamers that are going to play this are the same ones that can make time for. There's a new Tomb Raider out. There's all the Assassin's Creed games. Mm-hmm. I am not a fan as much of the third person where you see the whole character and do that. I'm a first person type of guy.
Yeah.
Now saying that, I like the puzzles and I like certain aspects that you just can't pull off when you're in the first person. I get that.
Yeah.
But I am a first person. I'm a first person shooter kind of gamer. Mm-hmm. That's what I enjoy.
Sure.
You know, it's mindless. It's all the killings and all the other shit. And for me, I can go to a place where it's just, all right, I'm going to play this game for 6 to 10 minutes, and it's going to fucking start a new game, and I can walk away from it. Because like Call of Duty, I haven't played the fucking campaign. I don't give a fuck. I just want to play online. That's the thing. I want to have my 10 minutes. I might get a half hour.
Yeah.
I might get a half hour to play.
Yeah. In
a half hour, I can play 5 or 6 times. I might catch somebody online and be like, oh, cool, we can fucking be online together. I'm not playing for more than an hour, ever.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't have that kind of time.
And that time of schedule is not really conducive to this style of game when it comes to Jedi.
It's not. You have to have the time put in it. And we knew that going into it for the most part. We knew it was going to take
somewhat.
time.
Like, I wasn't expecting it to this extreme.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting more of a Force Unleashed style game, where you're just going level to level, you're plowing through enemies. You might die once or twice, just because you weren't fucking paying attention to something. But otherwise, you're doing your thing, having fun, doing all kinds of crazy Force powers.
Man, Force Unleashed, I really enjoyed that game when I finally sat down to play it. Yeah. I enjoyed playing that game. I liked how they used the Force in that game.
Yeah, it was great. Like, I thought it was fantastic. And I guess the first one was pretty successful. The second one was not, and they never made the third one, which is a shame because the second one ended on such a cliffhanger. But what can you do?
Yeah,
such is life. But anyway, that's that for the episode. We've been going for quite a while, and we've got shit to do, so we're going to pack this up. Again, next week for you YouTube audience listeners / viewers, we probably won't be recording for another week and a half because I am leaving, going to California. So keep an eye out. Probably really the weekend of. Give me a date. Jesus Christ, you're not helping me. Look for us on YouTube the weekend of the 14th / 15th. The weekend before Rise of Skywalker comes out. That'll probably be our next live episode.
Yeah.
On
a Sunday.
Yeah, only because of my exodus. So, again, normally we'd have had another episode on time for next week, but family situations being what they are.
There is so much that it'd be foolhardy for us to try and pre-record an episode when, as we're getting so close to Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. It's just not worth it. We're better off taking a couple extra days and catching up more real time for the YouTube audience and even for the podcast.
Yeah.
So,
and we'll have two episodes of Mando to get through the next time we record. So that'll be something to look forward to.
And they're going to be awesome.
Sure.
You know they're going to be. You know they're going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So thanks everybody for watching and listening. So much going on, but we'll be back here in a couple of weeks-ish, and the countdown to Rise of Skywalker begins.
It's coming. It's December.
Woo!
The weather's dog shit. It's fucking time.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't looked outside. I wonder if it's snowing.
God, I hope not. I got shit to do tonight.
Yeah, same here. So, all right. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, Dave. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Ugh, sounded awful. Okay, now what do I click?
It just brings me back to the thing with Kristen.
I gotta pee real quick.
All right.
While you're, oh god. No.
So, episode 129, Raw. How's it look? Oh shit.
Same.
Okay, I thought I saw snow. But yeah, if you guys haven't watched the fantasy football recap episode that Kristen and I did last weekend, go back and watch that. Good shit. Really good banner at the end with me and Kristen. It was fun. And thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Obviously, it's not a vacation trip by any means. It's, again, taking care of some family business. Hopefully everything's successful with no issues. And then I'll be back here in a week. But, yeah, good stuff. Oh, yeah, I didn't even look in the chat if anybody had any audiobook recommendations. I was considering that Scavenger one, but that's kind of like a young adult novel. So now I'm thinking maybe Master and Apprentice as the audiobook. It's not snowing, though?
No.
Oh, okay.
It feels like snow out there, man.
It
feels like it's getting ready to fucking dump.
Yeah. So what do you think for an audiobook for me? Master and Commander?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. I have one I'm going to talk about offline.
Okay.
Just because I don't want
to. Okay.
I don't want it to seem like there's politics involved in in anything.
Gotcha.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I will work on that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know why that whole 25th reunion coming back to.
Yeah.
Now, we have a probably, I couldn't even tell you how many people were at the thing, but there's like the usual suspects that came out for like the reunions.
Yeah. I would imagine you get pretty much the same crowd that comes to like the 10, the 20.
Yeah, we've had one every 5 years except for the 15. I'm not sure why the 15 one didn't happen.
That's an odd number.
Yeah.
10's good, 20's good,
Yeah.
5's too soon. And
well,
then
we did 5.
Oh, you did?
We had a huge turnout for 5. We were a closer class. Like, there was a lot of people that, like, everyone kind of knew each other. And Jason did the original Thrawn trilogy already audiobook. That's how he ingested it.
Well, I think he means the original Thrawn trilogy. But I read those books a long time ago. I don't need to do the audio on those.
So, anyway, yeah, our 5 year, everyone had it was a little, like, kind of formalish, and then like we had a big kind of after party. We met at like this local dive place that had a live band, and a bunch of people went out and hung out, had a good time. The 10-year was like kind of a formal thing, a little too expensive, and I think that's why they didn't do a 15-year, because people were just like, eh. And then for the 20, I'm the one who put that together.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, I wanted to do something a little bit more formal because it was the 20.
Yeah.
And enabling that and like getting people to commit and everything else. What people don't realize, if you've never actually put together a party like that with 300 to 400 potential guests, actually more than that. It's a lot of people getting an idea of who wants to come out and committing that and taking care of the financial aspect of that.
Right, because that's the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably a shitload of money.
It is. It's a lot of money, and there's a willingness of people want to spend. So that our 25 little informal get together, it was inexpensive. It was a good time, and that's probably what we'll do for the 30.
Yeah.
We also we're raising money for a scholarship that the school gives out to special needs kids.
Oh, that's good.
So, and there's an aspect of that too. Talk about things that Dave probably shouldn't be involved with because he doesn't really have time for. When we're raising money, like, okay, at our 20 and now our 25, we've raised a few $1,000s for them to be able to give away the scholarship, and we appear to be the only people doing this. And this scholarship wasn't established as a class of 94 fucking scholarship thing. This was something, it was named after one of our advisors, who was the special needs teacher in the school. And that's why the school basically, he's a good character, blah, 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 named this thing after him. And they were kind of doing it internally. And so when I was putting together the 20th, we're like, hey, here's something that we could, they need help funding this. They've run out of money. They were doing it like, oh, we're doing $5 jeans days or some shit like that. That's how they were funding it. And like, they can't do that indefinitely. So, all right, let's raise some money. So raised money at the 20th. We probably raised about $1,000 on Saturday to put more towards it. So that's a few years of giving out a couple scholarships a year.
That's great.
And, it's small. We're not talking big things, but it's getting to a point. It's like, all right. So if we're sole sourcing this and we're the sole funding agency of it, what's going to happen when we don't do it? Let's say after 30, we don't do anything till 50. What's going to happen? Like, is the expectation that we're the only ones that are doing this, and how long is that sustainable? So I have some work I have to do on the back end of that. Who's a pile of wieners? You're a pile of wieners.
Isaac. You missed the brunt of the show, Isaac. This is the after party now.
Yeah, there's the shortened after party because I have to go in a few minutes. But
yeah, and beat the fucking traffic because it's probably going to be a nightmare out there.
Yeah, I got to go across. Well, I got to go home, and then I go fucking back into Haddonfield. But anyway, yeah. So that was this is the funny part. Dave being Dave, and thankfully there's the woman who helps me out with getting stuff and raising auctioning off shit with the Eagles, like the girl I went to school with. So it was me, her, and there was a couple other people in like this on the committee, air quote, and the president of our class was involved with it this year. And dude, it was just one of those things where I know, like, me and Annie, if we were in charge, like, it would have been like, okay, here's this, and go.
Yeah.
Where there was some wishy-washiness and some like things that were just kind of left open-ended that I would have never had let happen. But so homeboy showed up, like he's like, oh, I'll be there at 12:30. This, like, he's used to live in Brazil, Bronco Fett. His wife's Brazilian. Lived in the Rio area. Now he's working for. He works with the NBA. He works with the Saints and the Pelicans down in New Orleans as an innovator. Cool job, cool story, bro. But yeah, so he was like in town, so he met up with somebody, and they fucking got hammered the night before.
Of course.
So he rolls in. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm hungover. couldn't find my phone, like, so I couldn't text you guys, let you know. And he had like, the DVD that we're gonna play over the thing because we arranged to have this big thing. He was bringing the laptop and the video and all the other shit. Well, the name stickers. So we're taking money, and it's like, oh, here's your name stickers, which we pretty much knew everybody.
Yeah.
There's a handful of people that weren't necessarily in my circle that I didn't really know. And anyway, so he fucking rolls in late, and then the laptop he brought didn't have a fucking disc reader in it, so we're like, oh well, fuck, that's
Poor planning.
I legitimately, like, I'm not undoing my laptop from its workstation at home because they're gonna have it handled. Duh. No, Dave. You know better. You know better than to do that. Mm-hmm. And whatever. It wasn't a big deal anyway. But it's just like those type of things. It just like, God, don't.
I could see that driving you nuts.
Yeah, and Annie's the same way. It's just like you can't not. All right, fuck, you're hungover. I get it. And it took him like a good 2 hours to fucking get forward enough where he wasn't like in slow motion.
Wow.
And it's just one of those things that he's telling us, like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I was hungover, blah. And I'm like, looking at him like he's fucking, like he's an airman. Like, really? You're standing in front of me with this bullshit right now?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Like, what else are you gonna do? But
yeah, and that's the weird thing. Like, just trying to think. I did my 10-year reunion, and that was kind of odd. Because I was off in the Air Force doing my own thing in New Jersey, but I came back for it. But I don't think we had nearly the camaraderie that it sounds like your class had.
Yeah.
I think now, like, if I went to a 25-year next year, I'd be like, I kind of recognize you. No fucking clue who you are. Don't really give a shit.
So one of the things we were talking about amongst the little group of us were like what's interesting about our little group is that even though there's the social media interaction that we have, like we have our own like group in social media for our class, and come reunion time and trying to get things together and posting pictures and shit like that. It's fairly interactive. We're all friends with each other on Facebook for the most part, and so you have an idea what's going on in people's lives. It still doesn't replace the fact that, like, if you're close enough with that person to have them as a Facebook friend, then you should be able to sit down with them and have a few minutes of conversation of catching up, like real time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I saw you did this on Facebook. Like, how was that?
Yeah.
How, and that's what a lot of people were getting.
Yeah.
A lot of people, there was a bunch of people that flew in just for that, from Florida, Georgia, a couple people came up from the Carolinas. And people that usually that couldn't, just because we did this fairly short notice and it was the holidays, so they had other plans.
Right.
So, but there more people would have flown in and been a part of it. So, it was interesting for that dynamic. Now, Kathy's class, like same school, same high school, same. So everyone's coming from the same areas that we're all coming from. Nothing.
Yeah.
They can't get anything together. And even what you think would be better with social media, but it's not. If anything, those are the people that say, like, well, we see each other on social media. It's not a thing. But then you get our group where even though we're on social media, we still enjoy that interaction. Yeah. So it's very, very, it's interesting. It's an interesting social psychology experiment where you can, like, why does it work with this group but not another one? Because we'll do the 30, and we'll probably get as many people as we had for the 25.
Yeah.
And the 50, I mean, I could see it going to that point where everybody was like, oh, wow, what's your grandkids doing?
Yeah, because that's got to be weird, because, like, this last one that you went to, you were retired, essentially.
Yeah, I was retired, and obviously, I'm a unicorn in that group, right?
Yeah.
Having a pension already at that age bracket, and also having 2 kids in college.
Yeah.
There's a handful of people that started, like, boom, right out of high school, they started having kids.
Yep.
So I'm not the only one with college age kids, but it's the minority.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that are, like, had their kids, like, in their early to mid 30s. So that they're going to be caught up to where I was at the 25. So it's just interesting. Like I said, I wish I had felt better. Like, it didn't have all this other stuff going on. I would have been more into it.
Yeah.
And I'll I hate to say it, but if I wasn't part of like the organizing committee, I may not have even gone. Just because I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
But I had to bring the 50-50 tickets and all that other bullshit, so I had to be there.
And I'm sure you didn't regret it after the fact.
No, I didn't. I didn't regret it at all.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
All right, we're gonna stop the stream now because I got shit to
Sound
do.
is off.
Dave's-
So we should just like, should we just make wild arm gesturing and like,
Yeah. Pull your knife out.
that was for Isaac's benefit.
Yep. All right, we're out of here.
And it's suddenly go back to normal.
Yeah. See you guys in a week and a half.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. We'll be in the group though. And again, any fucking Rise of Skywalker spoilers hit the Facebook group, you will be permanently banned. Anything that I consider to be a spoiler will get you permanently banned. I don't care. You can lawyer your way out of it all you want. I'm the boss. I make the decisions along with Dave.
He's the captain now.
And yes, I'm in charge now, Phasma. I'm in charge. So, yeah. No spoilers in the group.
Yeah.
At all.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Or you will regret it. Forever.
Knife hands.
Yes. All right. We're out of here, guys.
Deuces, boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
Are you clicking?
I am now.
What did he click? I gotta make a phone call.